thinks that I got yesterday's analysis wrong on this one. So today is going to be a very, very fun day. I do suppose perhaps around the good old crypto sphere, as a lot is going to be decided, I do believe, today on the weekly closure for CME, as we do have it happening a little bit later at around midday in the Western Hemisphere there. Anyways, with that said, I see a shit ton of people in here right now, and holy fucking moly, man, good morning to everyone out there. Oh my God, this is already a full house. This is amazing. We got 800 people in here right now, and we already got 250 likes on the video. That is insane. Good morning to you, and welcome, and holy fucking moly, man, as I search my words today, because today is Friday. Have a happy Friday in your life. Anyways, and it's also Black Friday as well, I guess. So is it officially Black Friday? Is this? Yeah, today is the Black Friday. That's the Black Friday that I've been hearing about. And we got the Cyber Monday on Monday as well. All of these made up holidays to make you buy more shit, of course, which we have our own as well, of course, with the programs. Maybe I'll get back to that a little bit later, as I want to get into the more fun stuff right now, as we do talk about Bitcoin down and still operating that 42% region. We see several altcoins going absolutely fucking lunar in the last few weeks here. So I do suspect that is going to be worth checking in on probably today for the weekly, or actually no, we're not going to get the weekly closure until Sunday, so perhaps I do hold off on checking it until then. We do see that the fear and greed index is still on the rather low side, as you would expect, as Bitcoin is popping off of the $56,000 low that we did kind of grind out for this last week or so, week and a half, I suppose now. Anyway, as far as top 10 bets goes, as far as top 10 best coins go, man, speech is going to be difficult today. Didn't get a full night of sleep, but that's okay. Anyways, we got basic attention token almost 50% on the day. That is insane. Live Peer, never heard of it, but up 32.5%. Anchor, Siacoin, Cadena, Filecoin, Gala should actually, I thought that was actually coming down last I looked at it. Anyways, Graph, Terra, and OKB all on the winners list with double digits or more on that. Pretty damn big day actually in the last 24 hours, as we get a very generous Thanksgiving, it looks like. And on top of that, the global funding rates is actually taking a little bit of a leg up right there. Still not anything too consequential from what I am concerned with. This is pretty much par for the course at 0.01%, but you are paying to hold your longs right now, a very, very small rate. And with that in mind, I do put a lot more emphasis right here on the global leverage ratio and global open interest, both of which have taken a nice little step up right there. Oh, fucking great yet again, man. Fucking great yet again. So yesterday's action was done on leverage as usual. And what happens after that, after the real trading day resumes? Well, I do expect that kind of plays into today's analysis. But of course, at the end of the day, price action matters more than anything else. The underlying market dynamics are a little bit more on the concerning side, I would say, except for the funny rates. That is neutral to slightly on the bullish side, I do expect. But again, those are all secondary or tertiary sort of analysis tools to be used in combination with the price action tools that we're going to get into right now. So let's start off where we left off yesterday, and I believe we were whopping out on this chart on CME. So we did break out of this, what would have been a descending triangle right here. Again, these do have a statistically higher probability to break out to the downside than the upside. Doesn't mean that it can't break out to the upside. In this case, it did, and the measure move was just about hit right there. However, I got a little bit too greedy on this one, because I was looking at that 58,500-ish region as be getting more continuation to the top side of our general range on the medium term time frames, about 61,500. I actually do still think that Bitcoin will put in a move somewhere right around there. However, we do have several things that are somewhat concerning going on right here as we do kind of peruse around the lower term time frame. So the hopium right now, and this is essentially the hopium, and it is still very much available to us right now, to be fair, is Bitcoin, as long as we are above 57,500 on even an hourly closure here for CME, right around this area right here. Technically speaking, could we still see a higher low right here and then trudge our way upwards and onwards toward that upside trajectory target? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's still it hasn't really been invalidated just yet, to be fair. However, there are several concerning things, I do believe, on spot price action, most importantly, which I don't believe are consistent on CME. Yeah, they're not consistent on CME, so that would be another little hopium for the boolaws right there. But of course, on spot price action over here, what do we see? We see several drives of hidden bearish divergence on this current local high that Bitcoin put in right around $59,000. And this is available not just up to a 4-hour, I believe also onto a 6-hour as well. Yes, indeed it is. What about a 12-hour? It is going to confirm on the next 12-hour delta closure, which will be pretty damn nasty, actually, if that does happen below about 57,500, even on spot price action as well. And I would be looking for another move down somewhere around the low side of the range, about at least another $1,000 down between 56,000 to 56,500. And then the hopium is that Bitcoin puts in another higher low somewhere right around there. Of course, the general conditions for breaking this whole range to the downside are still very much the same, and we're still pretty damn far away from that, but putting in yet again another lower high right here is not the best signal of all time. So I do believe I got yesterday's analysis. I think I was just a little bit too aggressive on that. Shame on me, and well, you know, that happens. Anyways, yes, so what is the continuation conditions for a downside move to $52,000? That would be about a closure on an hourly, even below our 55,300 area right here. Or if you want to be super exact, super conservative, 150 would be the same one right there. However, if we go over here to momentum oscillators, I would say that it also kind of, you know, helps with the bearish case right now, as well as we do see 4-hour Stokes pointing down, and we'll be remaining with downside caution as long as below 58,850. And we do see that volatility is in a very contracted phase right on over here as well. So if you start to see volatility start to tick up while momentum turns down, that is not the best short-term setup for the boot laws. On top of that, we do see that the buy hourly is already leading that in as long as below 59,000 bucks. Hourly is also all the way down as long as we're below 58,450. Again, kind of within striking distance right there, and has had a full-on reset. But when we start to look at the other medium and higher term timeframes, that's where things start to get a little bit more, well, again, I don't want to front run these sort of signals, but if Bitcoin does close below 56,750, well, that's going to turn 12-hour Stokes to the downside as well, and daily will turn down with any sort of a closure today below 58,100, of which we are currently trading about $400 below as of this moment in time. So, of course, you know, it's a long day left to go until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, another 17 hours, 41 minutes, and 40 seconds. A lot can happen between now and then, but I would say that if that condition is met, at the very least, we're going to test the bottom side of the range yet again, and then we got to hold our breaths if you do want to be bullish for Bitcoin to just not shit the old bed right there. Anyways, anything else that I want to get onto right here, or anything else that is super obvious, especially with CME chart. In fact, I should check that CME chart is pretty much doing the same things. And to be fair, daily is quite a bit different right here. We'll be remaining with upside caution as long as we're above 57,250 by end of day closure. 12-hour is going to be up as long as above 56,350. 4-hour is, yeah, fresh crossing down as well. So all the lower term time frames is going to be pretty much about the same thing right there as well. I suppose the hopium, again, is that Bitcoin does essentially just put in a local low pretty much where we're at right now at 57,500. Really don't want to see any sort of an hourly closure, even just a little bit below there, as that very likely is going to be the next sort of nail looking for that continuation move to the downside of the range. Again, I would not call a breakout to the downside of the range just yet, but please do realize what is likely at stake right here if Bitcoin does break to the downside of the range. Again, that would be confirmed with even an hourly below 55,000. Let's see, I would be using 50,000. You could probably even use 55,500 at this point on an hourly closure in this case. But where would that measure move be pointed towards? Because this technically is a bearish redistribution pattern until proven otherwise, which how do we prove otherwise? You prove it otherwise by creating a higher high amongst even the short-term time frame range right here. So we're looking at something like this, right? Looking at something like that, and if we were to break out to the downside of this range, what would it essentially imply as far as the target goes? Somewhere down around, I believe, $52,000, which would be around the 618 Fibonacci retracement. So I do expect that Bitcoin would find some lows or at least some big bounces around that region, and that would actually play into the weekly analysis as well, as we do see the weekly 21 hovering right above that region at about 51,500 to 52,500 or so, and that will obviously change coming into this next week. Now, here's the thing. CME is closing the weekly today, in contrast to spot price action, which is closing on Sunday, obviously. So if we do go over to CME right here, you know, would this be a bad closure to close back above the 9 exponential moving average on the weekly? It wouldn't be bad, no. At least it would very likely align with the probabilities that Bitcoin does get that next leg up somewhere around 61,500 at minimum next week to open it up, and then we come back and see if continuation to the $63,000 or $64,000 target is still available. So today, I do believe a lot's going to be decided, and then the weekend's going to be a lot of fuckery. So whatever happens today is going to set in the biases for the next week to come, and then I suspect that the weekend is going to be some sort of contra price action to that, and that's going to be a big trap. So that's getting way ahead of ourselves right now, obviously, but it basically says that all of this analysis essentially hinges on what Bitcoin closes at today on the weekly for CME specifically. If we close basically, you know, below 57,500, I'm looking for at least another retest of our current low side structure, and then hold your breath yet again. And if Bitcoin actually does put in a local low right here and works its way back up, especially takes out the high from yesterday, in this case, even just closes above 59,500 on a 4-hour, then yes, I would still be looking for that move back around here to our blue box territory, the top side of our medium-term time frame range. At that point, I would be looking for another short-term pullback, very likely puts it into a higher low, anywhere between about $59,500 and $6,000 territory. And then I would be looking for a nice move up, somewhere around the 618 Fibonacci retracement right here. That would be the next big test for the blue law. So again, blue law still have a lot of work to do here on the higher term time frames. frames, because as long as we are below, especially 64,000 bucks, that 618 Fibonacci retracement right there on CME, and it's the same thing on spot price action as well. It is just another lower high, and that would be your confirmation of actually a daily downtrend in this case. So we do not have a lower high just yet on Bitcoin daily. So that is also the other hope, even that Bitcoin just green dealed its way up, and this is a major bear trap right here, but that will not be confirmed until Bitcoin's back above 64,000 bucks. So I want to be very, very deliberately clear with this, that Bitcoin is, you know, it's technically more of a bearish setup, especially as long as below that region. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't get back above it, but until Bitcoin gets back above it, I'm only looking for, personally myself, to trade short-term time frame ranges. I'm not interested in holding anything until Bitcoin essentially proves itself with another uptrend. Now, with that in mind, oh wait, what's going on over there? Oh, we got some fresh air. We got some fresh air over here. This is good. It's really. You're gonna freeze to death, so you're welcome. Well, I wasn't necessarily hoping for your death, sir, but fair enough. Anyways, yes, okay, so where was I before I just got so rudely interrupted? Yes, okay, a few more. You like that? Yes, I want to go back on over here. Okay, so this is a chart that I was showing, I think, a couple days ago. Again, that Bitcoin is more in a bouncy zone than not. Doesn't mean, again, that Bitcoin can't come back down and swipe around 56,000 or even 55,500 or so. Again, anytime that Bitcoin has gotten into this green territory right here, at minimum the top end of it, but especially the bottom end of it, we have seen some pretty nice bounces. Now, I'm referring to the horizontal lines right here, these green ones. And what I've done is I've marked off all of the iterations where we actually have hit those regions with these vertical blue lines right here. And you can see that these have been some pretty phenomenal bounce areas. Now, of course, when you're in an uptrend, these are obviously your higher lows. When you're in a downtrend, this is actually marked off the major lows. However, you can see the last time we really got in this region way back on over here in May. It did take a long time before Bitcoin did flip around. Now, did Bitcoin actually close on any new lows below that first prior wick on the 19th of May where we got that test, or sorry, we got that test into the green zone right here on the PMARP? No, actually no. So that is, you know, that is good, but it did take about 3 months from that point in order to reverse. So, you know, we are in probably more of a bottoming area than not. The question to me is, do we put in a major low right here, or does it come down to about 50,000 or a little bit below $50,000 territory? I'm still pretty agnostic to that until we get today's weekly closure for CME. If it's below the areas that we spoke about, I will be looking lower over time. If it's not, then I do think that Bula still have the hopium for at least a test towards 61,500, and then very likely does we get a continuation of 63 or 64, and then if rejection there, then, well, same thing as before as well. So it's going to be a long next few days here, especially over the weekend, because I suspect that there's going to be a lot of fuckery alongside with that. And I think maybe now is going to be a good time to get into the chatties here. Perhaps we do briefly go over Ethereum. No, maybe we save that for a little bit later. That's completely fine right now. You know, I think it's going to be a good day to get into the chats right here, and let's see what we got going on, as I think Elsa has already... Okay, yeah, she has already gotten them. But I see that there's even a few people before that. Holy shit, man. What's up, crazy guy? Good morning to you. I'm actually going to turn on the alerts right there. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. Would you ever consider having a section of the stream dedicated to a low cap token? I don't do any research for shitcoins, sir, so I'm just going off of what people are commenting here. That's all that I'm doing, man. I really don't care too much about shitcoins for myself. I don't trade them. I have no real interest in them. I understand that people are interested in, you know, very, very low cap, like less than 100 million. Uh-oh, is the stream dead? Motherfucker, don't die. Bastard, motherfucking piece of shit. Oh, it's wrecked. It's wrecked. Fucking goddamn it. Is it back? Is it back? I think we're back. I think we're back. Please work. Please work. I think it's good now. I think we're good. All right, cool. Yeah, to answer your question, crazy guy. Yeah, man, I don't have any interest in doing that because I'm not going to do the research for those to begin with. I'm just going off of what people are commenting here. That's all, man. Yeah, and for the most part, in my opinion, personally, it's probably best to avoid those sorts of things. I do understand that's where the big gains are, but they also, you know, more often than not are going to be, well, garbage and worthless over time. So to me, I don't really want to play that game. I will analyze them if requested, but I'm not going to go out of my way to, you know, go find them myself and then create a whole section for, hey, if you're looking for the dirty shitcoins over here that might make you rich as fuck off of just $1, then this would be it. No, I don't think that's I don't think that's appropriate for me to do. Dahlia, the golden doodle, that is actually a really beautiful dog. That is a really, really beautiful dog, by the way. Can you have a look at Dreams Quest? It's a new one. Oh, I'm sure it is. But recently broke upwards from 2 weeks of sideways movement. Also, why Helsinki? Because my girlfriend lives here. Here, the metal scene there is awesome. It is actually. In fact, it's one of the best from what I hear. Although I'm not too much into myself, but I do respect it. I actually do respect it. Anyways, it would be great, Dahlia, if you included a goddamn ticker, because I have no idea what the hell this thing is. Thank God it's on TradingView though when I type in Dreams. So this should be it right here. At least I hope so. And what do we have? We have a chart that's been around literally for 2 weeks, as you said. This is completely unhelpful, my friend. Unfortunately, I really don't know what to tell you. If you're basically stating that it's broken out of its 2 week sideways movement, no, it is not. It is actually still very much within the context of its long term, or not long term. There is no long term on something like this, but its life range, I guess. The breakout would be above 1.25. In your short term breakout, even on and we're talking about an hourly right now. So this is really just not even appropriate, but it would be coming in from your 5th of November highs right here at about 83 cents. So no, I'd have to humbly disagree with that. However, is it going to put in a higher low right here and give a test towards that region? Perhaps yes. You're probably looking at like a 15-minute and judging this as like the macro range, but fair enough. You know, that's really all that you can go off on something like this. Maybe you like the underlying technology. Maybe you really believe in the project. That's a different game than what I'm doing right now. But I suppose the hopium would be that as long as you do hold above 46 cent, good. Below 46 cent, bad. And I'd be looking for a return back down into your mid range of 30 cent region. Until then, your real breakout's probably not happening until about 83 cents. And even then, I'd just be looking for a move up, a pretty big move up, to be fair, to your prior highs at about $1.25. So. All right, cool. Let's see. I see Rolando P over there. Evening to you as well, sir. Well, a while back, I asked if you do a most bullish chart segment, and now you've done spoiled me. Well, I'm just going off of what people request here, man. I haven't done anything. It's a community, man. It's a community. So thank everyone else. Well, I'm very happy that it worked out for you, man. I'm very happy that it worked out for you. Also, has Wind destroyed any time frames daily 3-day? Let's see. I remember we looked at this one a while ago. It's Wink. Yeah, Wink. Has it destroyed anything on it? No, it hasn't done anything of note right here. It got right up to the breakout trend line. Very, very close right there, to be fair. I mean, it's pretty much there for what it's worth. Let me actually write this one down. I would like to follow up on this one, but until you actually do see a clean and clear daily closure above 9,400, wouldn't be looking for the next move up to your prior range highs from May and April, actually. Until then, I do think that this one is, well, you know, going through a little bit more of a consolidation. It's probably overall good, but still likely to take its time, I do believe, as that last rejection implies that it probably goes through a little bit more sideways right here at minimum. You know, short-term timeframes to become down, or not short-term, but on the daily to become down somewhere around about 77,000 first. You know, it does look likely. I don't really have a reason to invalidate this one long-term, as long as you're riding this trend line right here at about, it looks like 6,000 or so, whatever that number is. I think that's like six 100,000ths, or sorry, 1,000ths of a cent. Quite low right there. Probably does end up being okay, but I think that this one takes a little bit more time. Again, needs to validate above that region. Otherwise, there is no, at least in my opinion, there is no breakout. So fair enough. What's up, Ebecca13? Mining my magical leprechaun coins, watching the stream. What are leprechaun coins? Which ones are those? The green ones? I don't know of any green coins, actually. Trying to think. Which car do you drive to and from the cave? I actually don't drive any car. I like to just walk everywhere. It gives me like actually good exercise and everything. And it's like really the city that we live in. The city that we live in, Helsinki, is actually rather small. So there's not really a reason to have a car. Although yesterday, maybe I shouldn't say his name because maybe he doesn't want people to know this, but one of the Discord members who pretty much everyone knows, and he's a great guy, show me a picture of his brand new car that he bought himself. He spoiled himself. I think he bought a McLaren, which is fucking sweet, and it kind of makes me think, it's like, maybe I kind of do. Maybe it kind of would be cool to have one of these. And then he did the most subtle flex ever. He did the most subtle, and I'm not giving away his name. I don't know if he's like cool with me giving this out or not. But he's like, yeah, I just bought this, and then he shows me his garage, and it's parked next to a fucking Aston Martin. It's like, nice, man, nice. I'm really happy for you. That's awesome though. Fuck yeah. But yeah, man, I don't really have a reason to drive a car. What I'd be more interested in is actually buying a boat, but I hear that those are just a complete waste. It's probably better to rent them. Anyways, Ophir Bentov says, hey man, all good, brother. All good. RNDR. Okay, so I remember you asked about this one maybe last week. Let's see where it is now. I forget if it was good or not, though. Looks like it was pretty fucking good. God damn, man. Alts just keep on going. Anyways, you're looking at a daily and 4 hour. Is there a triple top on the 4 hour? No, there is not, but do we have a top in is the real question, and it does look a little bit toppy right here. I do treat it as at least a short-term top as long as you are living below your range highs on the 4 hour at about $7.50 right there. But have you officially broken down just yet? No. Are you pretty damn close to it? Absolutely yes. Any sort of a closure below 605, and I would be looking for this one to put in a nice medium term high, somewhere down around about 5.25 in this case. Somewhere down around there. I mean, this one hit the 1.618, so very likely to retrace here. I'm not necessarily calling like the macro rally done for forever, but some sideways and down as it cools off, maybe over like a week and a half or two, is probably what I'd be looking for on something like this. Until you start to close back above about 870, I don't really think there's any like major continuation on the daily just here. It's likely to take a little bit of time off. And again, what do we see over here? Hidden bearish divergence, momentum also is turning down. I don't think it's like a death sentence or anything, but I do think that you trade a little bit sideways and down from there. Do I dump my bag, sirs? Not financial advice. That's exactly right. It is not financial advice. Boost down there says Mora, Krown, and Elsa, Gala USD, please, bro. Daily and weekly closure. Hey, man, you have a good one as well, sir. You have a good one as well. So Gala, I believe I looked at yesterday, and we were looking at potentially a little bit more continuation, but very likely topping soon. And did we get that is the real question. And we did get a little more continuation, and it looks like it is. Yeah, it's at least topping out in the short-term time frames here. You're on the daily and weekly, though, so that's probably not too concerning to you. Yeah, it did hit about 76 cents right there. Okay, fair enough. I'm probably looking for this one to trade a little bit sideways and down, try for a higher low, maybe in like 60 cent territory to 55 cent territory. Anywhere between there would look about good. Long-term, is it done? It's pretty fucking hot there, man. Anytime that I see something like this where daily BBWP is getting up to 100 percentile for, like a week in a row, probably a lot closer to a top than not. At least short-term timeframes, I'd feel very confident saying that this one does work its way sideways and down into like the mid 50s or upper 50s, something like that. Would I call the macro rally over just yet? No, that doesn't really get called until about 38 cents, but that's well and far away. But you are in the higher term time frame, it sounds like. And when I look at the weekly over here, would I be calling like a macro top right here? No, I wouldn't. I think this one can retrace into the mid 50s or upper 50s and still continue on perhaps middle of December or so. But I do think that it does have a short term tie in for right now, and I'd invalidate that basically just by popping back above your current 4 hour high from last 4 hour actually, which is 84 and a quarter. It looks like if that were to be confirmed, I would be looking for an extension, I suppose, towards 90 cents or so. But man, this one's this one's a lot closer to putting like a major high than not. So I don't want to give you the hopium on that one. Long term, I'd actually still like this chart. Just probably gonna take a little bit of a short term break right there, I'd imagine. All right, cool. Misha Chilek, definitely Russian, I'm guessing. Hi, Krown. Can you please look at LRC 4 hour and daily? Yeah, I remember we looked at this one yesterday, and it was actually charging up, looking pretty damn good again, potentially for some continuation, and close but no cigar in this case. Let's see, how's the 4 hour looking right here? Again, I mean, I'm going to like this one as long as it's operating between $3.50 and $2.50 on a daily, but I'm not convinced that it's ready exactly at this current drive, to be quite honest with you. I'm a lot more inclined to say this one probably does go through a little bit more of a sideways range. I do still actually like this one. It did play out its correction. We got a correction down to 220. That's completely fine. Could it come back down to like 260 or 270 in the next few days, perhaps? Yes, I do think so, but what would invalidate it and essentially, in this case, imply new all-time highs and probably significantly new all-time highs as well? Well, pretty damn simple. Any sort of a 4 hour closure, if you are using 4 hours above 366, if you're on a daily, same areas before, about 355 or 360, whatever it is. And then I'd be looking for, I guess, moves into the $4.5 to $5, more like $5.50 range over time. I'm a lot more inclined though to say that this one trades a little more sideways within this range first, but overall, again, just not bearish as long as above 2.25. That was a very critical juncture that did put in a higher low right here, and so I do have to respect that a lot. It's just I think that it probably does take a little bit of time, especially if Bitcoin comes down here. You're probably going to see most things in this market at best trade sideways within their range, and the strong ones will hold their ranges around their highs, and then when Bitcoin does put into balance, they'll probably go for a continuation. So I think LRC kind of fits the bill of that. Anyways, we'll move on to Mr. Vince over there. He's looking at CKB. Yeah, we can do that. CKB. This is Nervos. We looked at this one yesterday, and it was really, really good. I believe we were looking for a breakout yesterday out of the falling channel, and Hey, hold on. I know that I have a chart for this one somewhere because I did a video on Elliott Trade's channel. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we hit the first target on that one. Beautiful. Pullback is to be expected on that one. That's what we're getting right now. I just don't want to see this one close back down below about 2.5 cents. If that condition is met, that will invalidate the more long-term setup. Right now, you've already hit your short-term setup. Beautiful. I would be looking for continuation over time at somewhere around about 4 cents upon validation above your current high of this range at about 3.17 or so. And then long term, I mean, does it go for an all-time high run after that? I think you already are at all-time high, so it wouldn't be. Yeah, I do believe so. You know, long-term targets like weeks down the road after those validations are had would be actually around like 7 to 9 cents actually long-term. Pretty damn good though. One of the better charts that we've seen today, certainly, you know, still playing at the hidden bullish evidence right here. And most importantly, we do see that volatility is starting to increase alongside that breakout. So I do quite like that one, and I would be looking for continuation there over time. Murillo Design says Gala 1 hour and 4 hour. We just got that one, so all good right there. I do, and thank you for that, man. Yeah, you know, the way that I want to differentiate content on this channel is by talking about validations and invalidations, because that's what a real, you know, trade looks like. Like, you can't just say, hey, this is going to happen without some sort of contingent plan as to, you know, what to do if you're wrong, right? Because at some point in time you will be wrong, or I will be wrong, obviously. Like, you can't be fucking perfect in this game, and weird things do happen, rug pulls happen. I mean, shit, man, yesterday I got Bitcoin, I think, pretty damn wrong actually. So we'll so, you know, it's very, very important to have those sort of conditions so that you don't fucking, you know, lose your whole goddamn account on a bad trade, right? Anyways, yeah, I think we did just get over Gala, but if you are specifically asked about the very short-term timeframes, I do think that this one has topped out on the short. If you're specifically asked about the hourly and 4 hour, yes, I do believe that has topped out for now, and very likely worked its way down at minimum to 62.5 cents or so. Probably puts in another bounce right there, trades a little bit of sideways, and then I do suspect that this one does dip a little bit into the maybe mid 50s, and then we come back next week and see what that one's looking like. Reshab says, what's up, Krown? Hello, sir. Can you check out IOST? Okay. IOST, IOST. All right. Why does this one sound familiar? Is it a 2017 shitcoin? It is a 2017 shitcoin, isn't it? It is, and it's barely tested its prior all-time high, so it's certainly more on the relatively weak side, and I would be looking for this one to probably try for a base somewhere around the weekly 55 in this case. You are on a weekly and daily, so cool. We are on the same page right there, and you're asking, is that a cup and handle, or is it invalidated because of a long handle? Yeah, you really don't want your handles to drag on for too long. Okay, so when it comes to cup and handles, which I'm really not a big fan of in cryptocurrency land, they are actually quite good in traditional land and forex land, but not so much in cryptocurrency land. You really the longer that the handle kind of drags on forward, the less and less likely it's actually going to play out, and the less and less strong that it does imply that. You really want it to be like rather short. You know, if this one resolved in early October, that would look great. But obviously it has not. Now you can still play the uptrend over here, obviously, but this one does need to hold about 37 cents on a weekly closure. In this case, on a daily, you know, this one's still not looking too hot right here. The hoping would be kind of, it's actually very similar to a Cardano chart, except Cardano just actually blew off its top, you know. In this case, you know, you do have a little bit of bullish evidence starting to build up right here, but do you have a local low in place just yet? Fuck no, you do not. What would confirm a local low even on a daily above 45 cents in that case? And then yes, I would be looking for this one to return to its prior range highs in the, you know, mid 5 cent region. But until then, you know, you probably already know this, but hard to get excited about this thing long term as long as it's below 7.5 cent. And we are getting more signals here and signatures of you know, at least one more continuation drive towards a 55. So I do look at it as a little more on the short-term bear side. Probably tries for a bounce around there. If it is bullish, you very likely see something resembling a higher low over there. If not, well, it's back down to Goblin Town, as you suppose. But I wouldn't necessarily be on the same side of that just yet. I think that's kind of grasping for straws. This one's been beat up quite a fair bit off its highs. John H, good morning to you, man. Thank you for that, but feel free to have a message as well. Let's see. Ashen Guard says, ENS, please, sir. Short and medium term targets. I do not do targets, sir. That sounds like financial advice, and that is the furthest thing from what we do over here. But I can look at the short and medium term timeframes and speak about what I might be doing on something like this. Oh, there is no fucking chart on this thing. It's been around for like 2 weeks. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, so short-term time frames are going to be like an hourly in this case. And what do we have right here? We are retesting around your prior all-time high, or like your prior all-time high. It's like a week ago. It's like 2 weeks ago, right? I don't think that this one's necessarily ready to actually break above your $75.50 region just yet. You are kind of extreme here on the hourly. It is just an hourly at the end of the day. So how much do I trust that? I don't. I would like to see I'd like to see at least an hourly closure above about $75.50. And then yes, I would be looking for this one to go on a nice tear, at least short term, all the way up towards 86, 87 bucks. And then does it get continuation over there over the medium term time frames? Perhaps yes, but I would be looking for a pullback first and foremost. Until then, short term range between basically your highs right here and your lows at about 62 or 63 bucks or so. As long as you're kind of awesome between there, it is short term good. Below 63 bucks, I do look for the correction to play out more prolonged before any sort of a legitimate try towards that top side resistance right there. And probably next minimum targets would be somewhere around like mid 50s, 55 to $56.50 or so. Anyways, let's see. We got Saturn Epoch. Maybe I should have recorded one on that one. Fuck it. Done goofed yet again, man. Done goofed yet again. Rose USD on the 4. It's a Tulip Mania over. I believe we called a high on this one like a day or two ago. Yeah. And I'd be... No. Yesterday I was probably bullish on this one. But looking for a little bit of a short-term downside move. And we're getting our correction right now. This is actually fine, in my opinion. I do think it comes a little bit lower. Right here, but 31.5 cent is kind of like the area that I like to not see broken if this one is going to remain in short-term good posturing. But yeah, we do have several signs of short-term downturn. Got some bearish evidence come off these past highs from, what is this, 8th of September to where we're more at immediately right here. Even a head and shoulders on the daily RSI. Plus, volatility hitting up to about 95% or a little bit more than that. I suspect that this one's gonna range at best for a little bit of time, somewhere between our highs at about 42.5 cent and somewhere just around 30 cents. Let's say I think this is a little bit too aggressive right there. Somewhere around the 21 is where I'd be looking for. If you do see a higher low somewhere right around there, that's gonna look pretty damn good. But what time? Oh, you're on a 4 hour. Sorry, yeah. If you're on a 4 hour, yeah, the Tulip Mania is over. And yeah, and I do remember this one from yesterday. We were calling a little bit of short-term downside, but long-term still good. And that's essentially what I'd say again today. But I do think that this one does have a little more short-term downside to play out compared to where we're at right now. I'm probably getting ready for a bounce somewhere around that like low 30 cent region. Anyways, TEB says, love the streams, Krown. Thanks, man. I'm glad that you enjoyed them, sir. Can you please look at LYXE? Love from Argentina. Argentina, I hear that you guys have some of the best barbecue, like actual barbecue, because I was banned from the only fucking barbecue place here in Helsinki. It's awful, man. It's like you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet for meat, and you eat all the fucking meat, and then they say, hey, you can't do that. What's that all about, man? What the fuck's that all about? Anyways, what do we have here on LYXE? We haven't looked at this one in a long time. In a very long time, but I guess I charted it out from well before. Man, this one... Jesus Christ, that one just got nailed on the fucking cross right there, didn't it? Anyways, what time frame are we looking at? 4 hour and daily. Let's actually go down to the 4 hour first. See what we're doing right here. Short-term time frames, I actually would be looking for this one to come back down around your range lows, anywhere between about 19.25 to maybe even 17.5, somewhere right around here. But I wouldn't necessarily flip around to like full on bearish on it. I do think that you're more likely to put in a bit of a local low on the daily within this region and then try like an actual bounce, kind of similar to Bitcoin right here. Short-term shows a little bit of downside. Would I necessarily be looking for full on continuation below that downside, area? I don't think so just yet. Again, we kind of hit extremes here on, well, actually, no, we didn't necessarily hit extremes on daily BBWP. It is up to 91.5 percentile. That is high, definitely high, but probably does grind out this area a little bit more. I would actually be looking at this one as relatively good yet again if you can trade back above $28.50. Until then, ranging on the lows at best, short term, a little bit of downside implied off of that hidden bearish divergence. Let's see. Juvian Official says, hey man, I wish I had a bird's nest like you growing up. Well, fair enough, man. I can have one for both of us, my friend. Anyways, a question. Will an advanced trader benefit from your TA program? Will my noob bro need the neophyte program? Okay, so we do have, fuck, I forgot even to talk about the goddamn sale. Hey, we have a sale going on, by the way. Forgot about that one. Right on over here. Make sure that you watch the promo videos that accompany all of the programs because they're going to explain who they're for and who they're not for. To directly answer your question, I don't know how advanced you are, but the general rule is with the TA program right here, which is like my main one, the one that I'm probably most proud of, kind of what I consider like my life's work when it comes to TA and in trading. That one, I do want to say is going to not be a good fit for you if you're already profitable. If you're already profitable, it's, you'll probably learn a few new things. Maybe you increase your hit rates a little bit off of some things, that I could potentially present to you. However, that's the main goal of the program, is to get you to be a profitable trader, like know how to set up your own fucking plan and then play out that plan over time, you know, based off of all the different strategies that we kind of postulate and give you and essentially give you in that program. If you're already profitable, I would say you're not going to get as much out of it as someone who is obviously not already profitable, but you're just not going to get as much out of it as I think you're probably looking for, right? If your brother is completely new, like let's say your brother has literally no fucking clue how to use an exchange, then yes, the Neophyte program will be a good fit. If he is familiar with how to do like the very basic stuff, if he can identify a trend, for example, then probably not going to be too useful for him. So it's very, very basic. But if he can't even, if he can't do that or set up a trade plan as well, then that's going to be a good start to things. And in some that I'm actually quite proud of as well. Anyways, Gemini Athlete MMA says Matic 4 hour. Let's see, Matic 4 hour. Okay, let's see what we got over here. Okay, we got Matic, and yeah, hey, continuing on with the bounce. Not bad, not bad. Matic doing exactly what you wanted to do at the exact right time. Beautiful, beautiful right there. In fact, should we record a video on this one? Fuck it, yeah, let's do it. Here we have Matic, polygon symbol MATIC, and we have hit both our first measure move based off the breakout out of these $1.68 region. That's what I'm trying to say right there. And it looks like we're actually going to get a little more continuation to our medium-term time frame range highs at about 204, 205 region after a bit of a short-term pullback. If we go over here to a 4 hour, yes, we are getting a bit of a short-term rejection. It looks like that is fine, and we'll be looking for this one to maybe put in another higher low, somewhere around 175, maybe even as low as 169. But as long as we are above 168 in this case on a 4 hour closure, I do look at this one as generally going to pull through, and I would be looking for this one to actually work its way back up towards your prior, just macro range highs. Actually, I still stick with what I've been saying about this one long term. I actually really, really like this chart long term, but long term does mean long term. Here's the good things that you got going on right here. You got hidden bullish evidence come off that last low. Okay, good amount of that's already played out. Daily jewelry remains with upside posturing. Okay, great, and actually just got supported by DMI, so that is good. And we do see that volatility starting to increase here as well. So I am actually looking for this one to trade sideways and up on the daily here, back around your top side of the macro range. Above there on a daily closure, that would validate above, I think it's like 203. Let me just double check. So sorry, 2.25. 2.25 would validate it on the macro range. That's where the real fun begins, and I'll be looking at targets over to $3.50. Short term, what would invalidate this one as a decent setup, again below about 168 for even a 4 hour. On a daily, big problems below obviously our current low, which is $1.50. Until that's taken out, this one is actually still pretty damn good long term. I think it just takes its time, and that's fine. Let's just double check over here to see if something is maybe staring me in the face and suggesting something different. Yeah, daily turns down below 160. Okay, well, we are currently 20 cents above that right now. 12 hour turns down below 188, so it is a little more short-term corrective. I do think that this one trades a little bit short-term sideways and down, but again, just be aware of where the invalidations are. Probably pulls back over the weekend if I had to guess, and then gives another try, perhaps early December in this case. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Polygon Matic Sir. Let's see, Gemini Athlete says bat pullback prices 4 hour and daily. Okay, yeah, we haven't looked at this one, and I remember this one, or I believe this one's gone on like a tear. Pullback, sir, this one's breaking out. This is actually pretty good. Let's record this one. Here we have basic tension token symbol BAT versus the dollar. And what do we have? It looks like we are breaking above our macro range highs right here. Actually, let me just double check that it is the macro range highs. Yes, we are at all-time highs already. Here's your reaccumulation. It is resolving that, it looks like, this week. Now, if you want to be super conservative, you'd be waiting for a weekly closure above about 150 essentially. Currently trading about a quarter above that, and I would be looking for an extension for first targeted region on, in the next 7 to 10 days after that to about 233, 235 region. I imagine that probably is going to be confluent with one of our, hey, god damn it, that's not what I wanted to do right there. I wanted my fibs. There we go. And what do you know? That would be, if I can actually do this properly, that would be right around the 1.272. Probably not going to be looking for a major top right there, but I would be looking for a bit of a short-term pullback right there. Long-term, over the next few weeks after that is validated, I would be looking for a move towards 310 or so. Daily is just continuations, looks good. Daily BBWP continue to expand. Still want to see that get into at least 95 percentile or more before I start to look for local highs even on a daily, and daily RSI also strong as well. At some point we will have bearish divergence, but not now. Short-term timeframes are continuation here as well. I don't really have any reason to invalidate this even on a 4 hour, as long as we're above the breakout point at 148.5. There will be ebbs and flows, obviously. If you're on an hourly, of course, this thing's trending right here too. So fair enough. I should be looking for this one to trade sideways and up. This is pretty damn good. This thing has been baking for a while. It's been consolidating ever since May, just freshly resolved as of yesterday. I think this one's actually just getting going right here, barring any sort of major trap on a daily closure below about $1.50. I don't think that happens, but that would invalidate it, of course. Until then, I'm looking sideways and up, man, and this one looking pretty damn good, actually. So hopefully that's helpful, and there you go for a bat, sir. I don't really have a pullback target for you, man. This one's continuation right here. I want to see it put in a local high first, and then I start to look for pullbacks. Until then, this one's just good. 4 hours getting a little bit hot right there, but I expect it still goes a little bit more. KMK says dog Elon Mar. Oh, motherfucker. All right, here's your 100. Is this one 100 million market cap or something? What's Elsa's sign in the background there? What's the issue, sir? What seems to be... Someone doesn't like your laugh, huh? Well, welcome to the internet, sir. It's going to be a very difficult stay here, but it's like, Jesus Christ, man. I don't like your laugh. Oh, man. All right, well, it's going to be a hard life, sir. Dog Elon Mars. It's actually not so bad right there, which is kind of concerning. 4 hour. All right, let's actually chart it out for the 4 hour. Okay, it actually is maybe not the best, in fact. Okay, I would say that this one is going to flip back around and actually be pretty damn good with any sort of a 4 hour closure below above 1520, and I'd be looking for this one to trade back up, not to the prior range, like higher term time frame range highs, but I would be looking for it to put in a nice move towards 1925 to maybe even 2000 even. Still don't get really excited about this one as long as you're below 2340 on the long term. I don't know if you are long term, and we do have some hidden bearish divergence in the short term time frames right here. Could you argue that that move's already played out? You could, yes. I mean, you're usually just looking for another grind around your current lows at 1250, but below 1250, this thing, I mean, is it likely to bounce here more or not? It's probably more likely to bounce here, to be fair. You know, below 1250, yeah, I do look for a pretty big downside move, somewhere around the this major wick that we saw on the 4th of November. Until then, I probably am looking for this one to bounce a little bit more here after maybe one more test of the downside. Yeah, and when I say downside, I mean like 1300 to 1260 or so. Above 1520, that's where things look good for the short term. But again, long term, not that there really is too much of a long term here. Can't really get excited about it as long as you're below that 2300 or so. So are you okay?
No, just continue.
Okay, fair enough. We have some very interesting people on the interwebs here yet again. Jose Gloria says, Mr. Krown, could you check VET, general overview? Sure, man. Yeah, we could do this one. We could do this one, VeChain, and what is VeChain doing? Kind of similar to Matic, actually, in the sense that, you know, it's still baking in this long-term consolidation. It looks like if we are going to be looking at it from the long-term view, it'd be something like this. And we got our rising bottoms coming alongside here. Generally good, but does that mean that it's destined to like break? It's destined to move up like at this exact moment? Probably not, no. But what time frames were you on? Oh, general overview. Okay, gotcha. Let's see. What does a 4 hour look like? 4 hour looks like we want to test around our lows again. Hey, oh, I guess that's actually as low as we go. Well, we're pretty much already around our lows. You know, I'm okay. Here's what I feel a lot more confident about on this one. I'm looking for a bounce anywhere between where we're at right now and about 11.5 cent. I'm not looking for this one to break down similar to Matic, for example, until we actually officially create a lower low below this 11.5 cent region on a daily closure. Until then, can we fill out this space a little bit more and test around there? Yes, absolutely. But I'm looking for bounce within this region. Still, you know, similar to Matic as well. I don't get long-term excited about this thing as long as you're below about 19.25 or so. Above there, I'm looking for a macro breakout, and this thing probably runs pretty damn big because, well, we know from the past it can run pretty fucking big actually. But for right now, you know, it's kind of hanging out the lows. I'm looking for something resembling a local low right here. Do we have it just yet? No. We will be building up some drives of bullish evidence on confirmation of a local low. Yeah, just ever so slightly higher lows right there on our side, but that won't be confirmed until you get a daily closure above 13.5 cents. At that point, I would be looking for another return back up towards 15.5, 16 cents, and this one's going to start to look a lot more like Matic, which Matic is a more mature version of this one as far as charts go. But again, I'm very hesitant to call a breakdown right here. Very hesitant to call a breakdown right there. I'm a lot more inclined to say that it puts in a local low right around there. But hey, the invalidation would be 11.5 cents, and that would be rather simple and rather nasty as well, but fair enough. Anyways, we have Ivana Wanna Banana says Ray USE 1 hour 4 hour daily. Okay. This is Radium, very popular not so long ago, but now just kind of going sideways. Yeah, same thing as before. I don't really have anything new to update on this one. It's sideways at best, but as long as you do hold above $9, I would say that this is a bullish long-term setup, but long-term means exactly what it implies, long fucking term. I think that this one can trade sideways here for another couple weeks. Really can't get excited about this thing as long as you're below 13.25 on a daily. Same thing. You can maybe even say 1285, but overall, you know, I'm looking for lows within this region. I just think that it could easily test around its current lows yet again. I'm looking for some reason that resembles a higher low within this region, and then that's at the point where I'd get a lot more excited. Short term, if you do see a daily back above about 1095, I would be looking for another retest of your of your range highs. I'm not necessarily calling like a breakout out of that region, although volatility is rather crushed right here, so probably would happen actually. But again, it's a lot more likely to trade sideways here for another week. I do think. Maybe even 2 weeks, and then perhaps gives a try. And of course, what would invalidate this as a decent setup long term? Below 904 on a daily, and I'm looking for this one to get crushed back down to 675, maybe even lower than that over time too. But again, I'm probably going to be looking for this one to hold right here, to be honest with you. Anyways, let's see what else we got over here. John H says, hello, good sir. Hello, Mr. Sir. Storage USD, I'm guessing. 4 hour and daily. Remember we looked at this one yesterday and it was grinding up against the range highs. Let's see if it actually took them out or not. And hey, it is. Oh, nice. Very, very good right here. Very, very good right here. Let's actually record this one. Here we have storage symbol STORJ. I actually don't know what the real name is. Maybe it's just storage, but whatever it is, pretty damn good setup right here as this one does approach and actually is exceeding your range highs right now at about 282. Any sort of a daily closure above there, I'd be looking for at minimum another retest of your prior, I'm guessing all-time highs in this case. Let me just double check. Yeah, pretty much your all-time highs actually. I'm going to break above there. I look for the macro rally to resume, and that would have long-term implications as we could pull one of these out, and I'd be looking for short-term continuations, within the next week or two, somewhere around 435 or so, and then long-term, now we're talking like maybe a month down the road or 2 months down the road upon validation of those breakout conditions to double digits actually, which is kind of crazy on an already $3 number. Now again, that's way far away, and of course we do need to see it actually fully confirm that, but for right now, daily's looking good right here. Volatility continuing to expand alongside trend continuation on a breakout, and daily momentum also is looking good here as well. So I do quite like this one. What would invalidate this as a good setup? Coming back down and closing even a 4 hour delta below about 240 would be rather concerning, or 245 in this case. But for right now, this one's trending, it looks like on all time frames, hidden bullish evidence yet again on the 4 hour. I imagine we're probably doing all right over here as well, but just to see, I'm curious. Yeah, 4 hours will flip up above 288, which we are currently 12 cents above right now. Daily is obviously just vertical above 250, so good. And weekly is freshly crossing up above 195. Dare I say it, this one very likely does continue upwards and onwards. Quite good right there, especially for a 2017 coin that's at least it's not below its prior all-time highs. that's not the worst sign, but also not the best sign. But overall, good, and hopefully that's helpful for storage, sir. Cool. Mario, there he is. Take a look at NVIDIA daily and weekly. Okay, I haven't checked out this one in a long time. NVDA on NAS, and what do we have? We have a fucking phenomenal chart long term, but are we topping out short term? We do have a little bit of a doji doodle going on in the weekly right here. It's gonna be a long 14 hours before this one closes, obviously, but if we were to confirm a doji doodle right there, would we have bearish divergence between this point and this point? Yes, we would. So this actually could be a potential major high. We also see volatility is incredibly high here as well, above 95 percentile in this case, at just under 97 in fact. I do think this one's very, very close to topping out on a weekly. Now, when I say topping out, I mean it's likely to come back down and try for at minimum another higher low first, somewhere around about 250 to 245. And then I come back to it after that. The monthly is not bearish, so I'm inclined to say that long term, you have not seen like the long term macro highs, but are you potentially looking at a weekly major high right here? Definitely possible if you do close some like this by the end of today, and then next week you come back down below today's low, or sorry, not today's low, but this week's low, which is 308.80. If that happens, I'm looking for a sideways and downside move towards basically 245 to 250 on a daily. It does not look like that actually, and actually I should have started off with the daily right here because that prior analysis would have been made so much more easy. The daily's continuation actually, and the monthly is obviously bullish as well. So the weekly, if it were to close like this, yeah, that'd be a little bit concerning. I suspect that today is probably going to try for another, for another move towards 350 in this case. If you see something like that, it's obviously going to be bullish and, just general continuation, I suspect. Where would I even pull anything for this one? Jesus, man, this one is just out of control, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, this one does have fundamental reasons to be bullish. Let me just delete everything right here because it's no longer relevant. I mean, I think the last time we looked at this one was like months ago. Yeah, I'm running out of things to do on this one actually. So let's see. Do we have anything over here perhaps? Perhaps we do. I guess I would be looking towards... probably $400. I would be a little bit on guard on this one by end of day. And also the other obvious thing is if you do close today below $300, yeah, I'd be very confident in calling a local high right here. This would be distribution, but for right now, it is looking more like continuation. We see volatility turning up yet again, and this would just be another higher low. So I'd wait for the weekly closure, but it actually looks. It does show a little more bullish things than not bullish things. I'm just running out of space to chart this one out, to be honest with you. Anyways, Jack Bayless says Terra 4-hour and daily. Okay, this is a new one. Tara. Okay, it is a crypto apparently. Taraxa on KuCoin, and it's pretty. God damn it, man! Another one of these good altcoins, I guess. Let me see over here. Let me just. Want to keep some tabs on this piece of shit, or this piece of highly esteemed technology, perhaps. What do we have? We actually should have some hidden bullish divergence between this point and this point. This one's obviously good short term. We do see it's likely going to test around your prior daily highs at about 2.6 cent, and a breakout above there would resolve this as an ascending triangle. Just doing some bad mental math, it'd probably be a target of like 3.5 cent, which I'm guessing is probably around your May highs just by nature of looking at too many of these damn charts. Yeah, somewhere right around there, about 3.5 to maybe even 4 cents. I actually do quite like this one right here. I'd only invalidate this setup below about 1.5 cent on the daily. If you're looking at a 4-hour time frame, it's just continuation. Short term, looking for a move towards 2.4 to 2.5 region. Probably a short term pullback somewhere around your range highs in this case, and then does it set it up for a breakout, maybe coming into perhaps later today, but probably more like next week. Perhaps yes, if that happens, then I'm looking for big moves up. Good though, man. It's actually pretty damn good. Whatever the hell this thing is. Not bad. BitBoss says bat on the 4-hour. We already got that one, so all good there, sir. And we recorded it as well. Astrological Ether Tarot. What? Hey, Kronos, can you tell me about Atom USD? Short and long term. I'm usually asleep when you come on due to work. All good, man. I understand that this is usually not normal hours for most people, but all good, man. I appreciate that, and thank you for joining in. Anyways, you're looking at Cosmos on short and long term. Don't know what that necessarily means to you, but I'm gonna guess that means a 4, and daily, as it does to most people. Daily represents long term, 4 represents short term. Anyways, short term for Atom, you got a similar trading range in this case to Bitcoin. This one actually a little more obvious right here, and above 34. Sorry, that's $33.34. That is. Then I would be looking for this one to return pretty much back around your prior daily range highs at $40 or so. And this one, would still look pretty damn good long term. I really only get bearish on this one below 26.5. Below 26.5, yes, I do look for this one correct all the way down to low 20s. I'm talking like $21 to $22.5. Until then, short-term timeframes, are we looking for another test of the current lows? Perhaps yes, but I'm looking for higher lows somewhere right around here. If you see a higher low, I mean, even if we're here, even if it happens right here, like $29, or if it comes down to about $28, that would look good. And then I'd be looking for a retest of the top side of your short-term range at about 33.5. Above there, that's when I look for the nice move. And long-term, I think that is around your prior time highs already. So it actually would still be a pretty damn good long-term setup. Problem is the weekly kind of looks like shit. If I'm being completely clear with you. So if you do take out the bottom side of the range, yeah, it's sorry, I think I said a $22 target earlier. It's going to be more like 21 to 21.5. If that condition is met. Until then, I'd give it a chance to put in a local low right here. If it does, especially if it's a higher low, that would be a damn good sign. Then I just want to see the range highs being taken out, and then this one's going to shape up to be rather good. Monthly coming into the end of this month is not so hot actually. Looking at the monthly right here, we will have bearish divergence if it does close anywhere below last month's low, which is 28.45, which we're actually currently above right now. So perhaps that can be salvaged by the the next 4 or 5 days of the trading month, but that's kind of what's at stake right now. Until then, definitely risky below 33 and a half. Above there starts to look actually pretty damn good, especially for the monthly closure as well. Maybe for like another try in middle of December in this case. J3S says, happy Thanksgiving, best wishes. AVAX 4-hour and daily, best wishes to you as well, sir. AVAX, okay, we haven't looked at this one in a few days. I believe I called a top on this one at about $1.40, and let's see where we're at. Yeah, looks like it did hold as a top, not bad. Look, okay, so here's the thing. Is this one ranging on the lows right now? Yes. Should I technically be bearish on this one, looking for continuation further south? I should not, but I do think that this one's a little bit more in a short-term distributive phase right here. Now, very, very short-term, is it likely to bounce off this region? Yes. If it can retake 131, I suppose I would just be looking at this as your next daily high or low, and correction over. We did hit our downside target of 110, so fair enough. But I'm a lot more inclined to say this one does, trade a little bit more sideways here, And assuming that you just get, any sort of a lower high below that 130-ish region, I would be looking for a further continuation of the downside somewhere around $100, even if that were to happen. Until then, it technically still has a chance. If you can trade back above the range highs, I would be looking for another try at 155 to 160 over time. That would be the validation for that condition. Until then, again, I'm a lot more inclined to say this one's short term, still toppy here and ranging at best. Long term, is this one still good? Yes, absolutely. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the weekly, nor is there anything wrong with the monthly here. But does that imply that it needs to take off like today? No, it does not. More likely middle to end of December if it is going to. But then again, I keep on looking at this time frame over here. Look, again, technically speaking, I should be looking at this one as still fine as long as you're above 110 or 112 on even a 4-hour closure. Below there, I do look for that correction to take on a little bit more. Personally speaking, I think this one's going to trade sideways for a little bit of time and then probably come down a little bit. But still, long term, very, very good. Very fucking good long term. So to be very, very clear with stating that. And we have a 5-day closing today as well. Yeah, that would look a little more short-term toppy as well. See, I didn't even check on Bitcoin's 5-day. Not terrible just yet. Yeah, not terrible just yet. That would be a little bit more on the hopium side as well, I suppose. Interesting. Very interesting right there. Anyways, you were asking about AVAX on a 4-hour and an hourly. Sorry, I completely whiffed that one up looking at the higher term timeframes there. So let's go down to the hourly. More likely to bounce off this region, man. More likely to bounce off this region, perhaps back up to 120 to 122 or so. 4-hour. Same shit here. I don't think it's ready to break down just yet, to be fair. Anyways, let's see. We got Chicken Dance. Nice name, man. Seller USD general overview. And best of the best to you as well, man. And thank you for that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot, man. CELR. Okay. Let's see. Where did we leave off this one the last time we looked at it? I'm guessing ranging right here. No, we did have a bit of a falling channel. It broke out but failed to break out. That is why I am not the biggest fan of these as formations. But is it still? Oh, it did hit the measure move right there, to be fair, or just about on it. Let's see if we actually put it out to the breakout. Yeah, pretty much exactly there. So that is fine. Let's see, what does this one look like on a weekly? Still gonna like the weekly long term. Anyways, you are okay. General overview. Let's go down to a 4-hour time frame. Are we ranging on the lows right now? Let's go back over here to a daily. Kind of stumped on this one, man. I'm still inclined to say that this one actually does have. Well, I was gonna say that we do still have a breakout going on right here, but I do not like that hidden bearish divergence on the daily. I really don't like that. Now, have you already played out the move from that? If you're bullish, yes. You really just do not want to see a move back down below 11.5 cent in this case, which is right here. So we're pretty much at the area that would invalidate it. I'd still say the same thing as last time, man. 11.5 cents does invalidate this one. Until then, I do look for this one to trade sideways and up outside of this range. Not the greatest signature of strength right here, though. It looks like it is going to test around 11.5 cent. Ugh, man. Don't want to see that. What about 5-day? 5 days probably still continuation here as well, to be fair. Let's see, what does it look like over here? I'm just curious. Let's see, CELR. Weekly turns up above 14.5 cents. Okay, that would be good. 5-day turns up above 14 or 15 cents. Not good. Currently living below there. Daily turns down below 14.30. If those conditions are met, I probably am looking for this one to fall apart a little bit. Short-term time frames are not confidence inducing. Man, this chart kind of has me stumped, to be honest with you. I think I should say a healthy amount of I don't know is the proper answer. If I were to chart this one freshly today and kind of negate the last few days, I'd do it like this. But that's not helpful, man. Yeah, that's not helpful. Unfortunately, I don't think I have anything helpful to say about this one. I'd be stumped on this one. It looks like the breakout did get, or the first breakout target did get met, then immediately retraced it. So not the best sign right there. I'd probably look for something a little more easy. El Ray Leon says Long Beach in the house. What's up, man? Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, man. And all good, brother. Any chance you could look at CGG? Yes, just Chain Guardians. We looked at this one days ago. It was looking pretty damn good. Let's see if it is still looking good. And it is. This would be a lot more of an easy chart. This is an easy chart that I'm looking for, not that last one, man. Anyways, what do we have right here? Once again, grinding up against your top side breakout region, about 220 or so. I'm still looking for this one to break out from here. This is actually quite good. Again, what do we see? We see volatility expanding. We see daily RSI back in the bullish control zone. A little bit short-term corrected, but that's okay. And daily Jewel remains with upside position as well. What about short-term timeframes? Just trending up right here. I do think you could see another short-term downside move to like 190 or 192. That's fine. I don't have any reason to invalidate short-term bullishness as long as you're above 170 or sorry 180 in this case. Below there, I do look for this one to correct a little bit further short-term and play out some more sideways in downside action, maybe down to about $1.60, but still long-term this would be good. And I'm still sticking with my general breakout target short-term about 305, more long-term about $4. I think this one's still fine. Just we'll briefly check it over here too, but I suspect that this one does see momentum turning up alongside this, and 4 hour will turn back up above 229. Okay, so still short term a little more on the corrective side. Daily remains up as long as we're above 210. So yeah, I do still like this one on the higher term time frames respectively, and 5 day looks good here as well, man. I'm still generally looking for this one to continue onwards and upwards, probably into next week. Ricky O says, hello Tiger, what's up, man? Luna USD 4 hour and daily, of course man. All right, Luna, let's see what Terra Luna's got right now. We haven't looked at this one in like at least a few days, and actually salvaged itself exactly at the area that you want to see it salvage itself at, which was 3880 in this case. But are we above the critical area just yet? I want to see this actually close above your last rejected highs from 20th of November right here. That would be 45.25. Very fucking close, obviously, but actually lower term timeframes look okay here, to be fair. Would have hidden bearish evidence if you do confirm a local high. That would be had or confirmed below 42.70 in that case. Be getting another move down somewhere around $40, maybe as low as $39. Would not call a breakdown just based off of that. However, I only call a breakdown on this one with a daily below 38.30. I do actually quite like that area. And you do have some bullish evidence come off that last low that I believe we identified last time we looked at this thing. I just want to see it pop above the range highs and actually close like a meaningful time frame there. Even a 4 hour would do it for me on at 45.25. I'd be looking for another return to your prior range highs. Long term, I mean, I still like this chart, right? Like this is still a good long term chart. If you look at the weekly, if you look at the monthly, well, maybe not so much on the monthly. The monthly does look a little more corrected, to be fair, but 5 day closing today. If it closes something like this, probably going to end up being okay, and I do still look for some sideways and up outside of this region. Again, I only get bearish on this one below 38.80, and when I say bearish, I just mean a retracement, a rather large retracement to be fair, all the way down to about $30 or so. Yes, about a 4 as well. Yeah, we pretty much got that one. Look, if it does pop back down below your current 4 hour low at about $42.50, I would confirm this as a local high, and that would have hidden bearish evidence, and that would imply another move down to the bottom side of your range. Doesn't imply a breakdown just yet, however. Let's see. Jose Gloria says, Dr. Krown, could you check Engine ENJ on the 6 hour and daily? Sure. I think Engine Coin had one of the thumbnails that Elsa thought was rather pretty. So she has like Engine Coin. Yeah. Okay. So it was Engine Coin. You got Engine Coin. You got Uniswap, and what's the other one? Sandbox. Oh, Cadena. Okay, there you go. All right, 6 hour and daily. Nice. If that one is nope, it has not been asked for actually, and Matic already has. So we already got that one. So good there. ENJ. Okay. We topping out here. Are we going for more continuation? Let's see, where are we on the weekly and 5 day? Okay, here we go. Here we have Engine, symbol ENJ versus the dollar, and I do still quite like this one. I believe we uploaded a video on this one either yesterday or the day prior, and we're looking for a big breakout here out of our macro range highs, which I don't even have, actually I don't even have properly plotted over here. It should be coming all the way back from this region right here. And that will be confirmed even on a 5 day today with any sort of closure basically here or higher. It does look pretty damn good and does imply continuation over the next few weeks, somewhere around about $5.50 to $6 or so. Short-term timeframes, are we seeing a bit of a short-term pullback? Yes, we are. Could it come down all the way to 375? Yes, indeed it can. But I do remain short-term, just looking for higher lows around a region like that. I do not get short-term bearish on this thing as long as you're above 355 specifically on a 4 hour closure. That would invalidate the short-term bullishness. Until then, this one just looks like continuation to be over a long period of time, but that could take another couple weeks here. Do we see any concerning things on a daily right now? Yes, we actually would if we do confirm a local high here, which would be confirmed with a daily closure below 385 in this case. We will have some bearish divergence. Daily BBWP not really in a super concerning region just yet, so I'm inclined to say that short-term pullbacks still lead to long-term continuation. I like the long-term setup on something like this. It's had a pretty nice run, and 5 day momentum oscillators will remain with upside posturing on closure tonight above 369, which we're currently trading about 30 cents above, so not bad. Daily turns back up above 401. Again, that would also validate the further continuation conditions. 4 hours still corrective, so very short-term corrective. Yes, all higher-term timeframes though I do like. Probably probably looking for continuation maybe in early to middle of December. Just kind of cruising around the different time frames right here. Yeah, and the monthly is actually going to freshly cross up, which we have another 4 days left. Yeah, 4 days left in the trading month with any sort of a closure above 160. Seen crazier things happen in cryptocurrency land, but I say that's probably not going to be met. Long term, I do like this setup over here. So hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for Engine Token, sir. Nels Gaming says, loving the analysis. Cool, man. Glad to hear. Could you do Hathor HTR on the 1 in 4 and daily? Sure. Okay, so this one was popular last week. Let's see if it's still popular or why is no one talking about it anymore? Yeah, short-term corrective right here. Okay, did we hit any targets on this one? I'm guessing we did. Yeah, we have a nice line right there. The old lines of peace and prosperity at 211 to 215 or so. It looks like we just about hit there. Now, I would be looking for a pullback right here, to be fair, and probably does trade a little bit further south, actually. But you will have hidden bullish divergence, actually. Here's your last local low way back on over here, and you're already way below that low on your daily RSI. So I'm inclined to say that this one is pulling back into a higher low, but that can come a little bit lower here, somewhere around about $1.35 or so. It's kind of where I might be looking towards. As the short-term timeframes do look like they're a bit in free fall right now. Sorry, actually, I take that back. 4-hour time frame probably does bounce here a little bit. Yeah, 4-hour probably does bounce here a little bit, but daily doesn't really have me convinced that this is going to be your low. I do think that this one does make a leg down somewhere around your mid to upper 130s and tries for a higher low right there. Long term is still good. It's actually still quite good long term, but short term corrective here. Yeah, the weekly a little bit more concerning actually. What about the 5-day? Yeah, that one's closing today. It does suggest a little bit of short-term downside continuation on your medium and higher term time frame. Short-term time frames are more bouncy, so I don't necessarily know exactly what time frame you're going off of right here, but the hourly's kind of been beat up to shit, and you are starting to create some bullish divergence down around there. What about the bi-hourly? Same thing. What about the 4-hour? No on the 4-hour. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting right there. But generally speaking, if you're on the daily, yeah, I'm probably looking for this one to trade a little bit further south, but I'm looking for higher lows there. I don't get bearish on this thing long term as long as you're above $1.25 specifically. Let's see. Juan Gonzalez says, can we take a look at mana, please? 4-hour? Yes. Where are we at on mana? I think last time we looked at it, we were looking for a move to $6 and then pull back, and let's see what we got. We got a move to $6 and it pulled back. Hey, not bad. All right, sweet. So now what do we look for? Well, is this one putting a bit of a high structure right here? It does look a little bit short-term toppy, yes. However, I would not call a short-term top, and I'm actually going to adjust this for the 4-hour time frame here until you do close a 4-hour dildo below about 475, 4.75, and then I would be looking for a pullback somewhere around about 435 to 440 or so. And still long-term, this one would look pretty damn good, right? 5-day. Again, I'm going to like this one long-term. Are we seeing a bit of a short-term high right here? Perhaps a little bit of that. Weekly still good as well. Monthly still good as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one make new ultimas in December, to be honest with you. If you are on if you're just on a 4-hour right here though, I'd still wait for it to actually break the range lows before looking for a little bit of a further pullback. Until then, technically speaking, I should be looking at this as just another reaccumulation. Don't necessarily feel that way right now with all momentum also turning down and volatility. So just in a little bit of a contraction phase. So that does look a little more corrective to me. But I guess I would negate that with the 4-hour closure back above 555, looking for at minimum another move back up towards your prior highs at $6, but more likely to get extension over time over the following week or two to your next big targets, actually quite deep there too, about $7 or so. Still very, very long-term good. Just I expect that we do see a little bit of sideways here at minimum. Hopefully that was helpful, sir. Let's see. Empyrean Shaw says, hello from New York, brother. Hey, nice, man. It must be the dead of night for you, but good morning, I guess. CRV, 12-hour and daily pullback entry. Not financial advice, obviously. All right, so we got CRV. I remember we looked at this one at the start of this week. It was looking really fucking good. Is there a pullback in progress right now? Yes, indeed there is. Where to be looking for on a pullback? Well, it's pretty much the exact same chart as what we just looked at with mana, in fact. And I'm going to record this one here. Okay. Here we have curve symbol CRV versus the dollar, and we recorded a video on this one beginning of this week, talking about the breakout out of the 430 region over here, targeting our prior highs on that run, which we've gotten thus far at about 540. Now coming back down to retest it on the short-term time frames like a 4-hour. Technically speaking, I should be looking for this one to create a range right here and put in a higher low. Now, do I feel that way? No, not necessarily, but my feelings are kind of irrelevant towards this one. Long term, I still like this, and we do still have obviously measured moves, which we've almost hit over here already, actually at $6.50. In fact, to got up, actually pretty much got up there. So fair enough. Yeah, short-term corrective is probably a little more likely. I would still be waiting for an actual official break of 540, even on a 4-hour dildo right there, and look for a retracement down to about 490 or 490 to 480-ish region. And that's where I'd be looking for on a higher low. Long-term, you know, on a 5-day, this is still very likely to get more continuation. This one's actually literally just about to break the macro region today on closure, and that's going to imply much deeper targets long term. Now, when I say long term, upon validation, I'll still be looking like another few weeks down the road at minimum, but I'd be looking into the low teens. Pretty powerful right there, actually. What about over here, just to see if there's anything you know, disagreeing with this as far as momentum oscillators go. In fact, quite the opposite. On the 5-day, we are going to be turning back up above 520. Daily remains vertical above 430, and 4-hour is short-term corrected below $6. So, you know, very, very short-term, a bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of downside. Long-term, I still really like this chart actually for long-term continuation, and hopefully that's helpful for Curve token, sir. Cool. Josh Griffith says UOS. Okay, this is not something that I recognize. Ultra. There we go. Ultra. All right. Ultra token. And it's fucking ultra good right there. Holy shit. Okay, yeah, I remember. Okay, now I remember. We looked at this one, I think, beginning this week. And, well, there's... Is it the what?
Festival.
Is it the the Ultra Festival token? I don't believe it is so, but it is pretty fucking good. I will say that. Anyways, 4-hour daily, 5-day. I do think this one's getting rather close to a major high right here, but does it continue on to, you know, maybe 3.25 or yeah, maybe $3 to $3.50 first? Perhaps yes. We are going to start to see extremes over here. Yep, we are on daily BBWP and daily RSI. Hey, stop that, you bastard. We don't have bearish divergence yet here, so I'm inclined to say that in this case, that this one's likely to put in maybe a local high, perhaps where we're at right now, and maybe play out a bit of a short-term retracement down to like 190 or so. That's fine. But I suspect that this one does actually have one more drive to new highs after that, and puts in, you know, double extreme conditions on BBWP, and then you get bearish divergence on daily RSI. That probably is going to be the big pullback. But until then, you know, very, very good chart right here. What would invalidate the short-term goodness on this one, I guess, would be a 4-hour closure below about 195 in this case. Below 195, I do look for a corrective phase down to 180. Although this one's just looking like another higher low right here. It's actually pretty fucking good. Maybe I record this one as well. Let me just double check over here. Let me just double check how many videos I already have today, because it might be too saturated already. Yeah, I think we'll hold off on that one. But yeah, not bad, man. Let's see, Cairo man. Hey man, what's up? I know you dislike these new charts. Well, it's not that I dislike new charts. Just there's nothing for me to do there, man. I don't think I have a very good analysis on new charts, because you're not really going off of much. I can look at it though if you really desire, but can look at this star launch. Yeah, very new right here. This is a 4-hour. It's only been around for 2 weeks. Again, man, I don't have an opinion on something like this. I don't. If you put a gun in my head, I'd say it's good. Probably going to get another test towards the top 30 range at 1680. I guess an hourly closure above there goes for a new trending towards new all-time highs. Do you have targets on this? No, not really. I guess, you know, your next round psychological number would be somewhere around $19 to $20, but I don't feel confident on something like this, man. If you do trade back down below 15.25, I would be looking for this one to return back down to your $14 range lows, but other than that, I don't really have any interesting analysis to give on something like that, and I really don't feel comfortable or confident on those sort of charts again. But fair enough, man. You know, if you put a gun in my head, that's pretty much what I'd say right there. But you are putting some hidden bullish divergence on an hourly. Again, it is just an hourly, so you know, be careful. And I'm gonna take a sippy sip of this water. I see. I see an avatar that's caught my attention out of the side of my eye. Albara Al-Tuara. Man, you are definitely from Dubai. By the way, I saw a bunch of so my friend was teaching me about like how what are they called? The traditional robes that you guys wear, and like this, the super rich fucking Dubai guys, they have ones like yours basically where they're like pristine white, and all these guys always have like these amazingly phenomenal watches on and chains and whatnot. I don't know, man. It always caught my attention. Anyways, well, I guess we'll just get. Should I just do it right now? Hero. Fuck it, we'll just do it right now. All right, so you're probably a prince anyways, so we should probably just adhere to you. Hey, could you let me back into Dubai if I want to go back there, by the way? I'm guessing you're a part of some sort of highly esteemed tribe. Anyways, this is pretty good right here. Actually, I'm gonna record this one. Here we have Meta Hero, symbol HERO versus the dollar, and we do see a daily breakout out of this nice range right here. Even have a bit of an inverted head and shoulders right here, which I imagine is just gonna have a measure move towards your prior highs in this case. And yeah, pretty much around there at about 17, 18 cents or so. Probably over the next week to 2 weeks or so. 4 hour. I do look at this as validated, especially as long as you're above that last 4 hour spike low. That's going to be 12 cents in this case on a 4 hour closing basis. So that is to say that is generally what I'm looking for over the next couple weeks here, as long as that condition is met. Short term, however, on a 4 hour time frame, I'll just be looking for continuation somewhere around here. I mean, we've kind of already got that. And that's your next little range highs. Above there, I do look for the full on measure move to be played out. Short term, it is it's a little bit sideways, not super problematic on something like this. Probably does have one more downside move towards 13 and a quarter cent or so, but I just like this one in the higher term time frame as long as you're above that last 4 hour spike low. Until then, generally good. Anyways, Blue Sky says wanted to say got the TA program and it's solid. Awesome, man. I'm very glad to hear that. Can we see AVAX on the 6 hour? I think we already looked at that one. Yeah, this one very interesting to me right now because we did kind of play out the correction. I'm probably looking for another bounce off this region right here, man. It's just not wise to look for a breakdown just yet. It's probably going to take a little bit of time, but yeah, I'm probably looking for a bounce back into the median of the range before anything else on a 6 hour. I do still kind of stick with my daily top call right here, but long term, this is not really like toppy on a monthly. Like that's not what a top looks like. So I'm inclined to say long term still probably good, but short term, sideways. Edward Preston Arcos says thoughts on block with price targets. Again, I don't do fucking targets, sir. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and for the love of fucking God, it's gonna drive me crazy, man. Anyways, block. It's pretty good here. I believe it did hit our target right here, so good. Just want to see it actually close above that region now on a daily, which it was just right around there yesterday. Fair enough. Either that or take out yesterday's high, and I'd be looking for a move up somewhere around about 18 to maybe even 20 cents. But for the love of God, man, no more targets. Short-term time frames, probably a little bit short-term corrective. Probably comes back down somewhere around just below 12 cents or so, but that's not problematic. Invalidated on bullishness below about 10.5 cents in this case. Cyber says, hey, check out Sis. Sis? That sounds like a social justice warrior concept. Sis. Oh, like cyst. I see. Syscoin. This is a 2017 shitcoin, isn't it? I remember this name from way back when, and it is, and it's actually right around its 2017 highs. Holy shit. This is actually pretty good right here. It's actually pretty damn good right here. Now I do think that this one might have a bit of a short-term retracement down to like 50 cents or so. That's fine. Yeah. Short term it is corrective here, but I would be looking for this one to maybe come a little bit down in the low 50 cent region. And if you see any sort of bottom behavior right around there, you will have hidden bullish divergence, and then I'd be looking for the higher term time frames to take over, of which you got the 5-day. Still be looking at the retest of your range highs right here. Yeah, I've never charted this one, it looks like. And I'd be looking for actually a macro breakout in this case above 78 cents, even on a daily closure. Looking for, I guess, this wick high over here to get filled yet again, which is, what is it, like $1? Or sorry, no, it's not $1. It is $1. What the fuck? Oh, it is. It's like $1.40. It's like $1.40 in that case. Again, volatility is starting to expand. You're pretty much approaching your macro range highs. Probably going to break in that direction. We see many things kind of following that trajectory, and I expect that is this daily? No, this 5-day jewel is actually getting another upside signature, and I imagine the daily is certainly already there. It is already there, but the signal was really had like about a week ago, it looks like. So fair enough. Good setup on the long term. Short term, bit more corrective though. Let's see. Michael says, looking good. Hey, thanks, man. I don't get that too often, but thank you. SOV daily. Sure. I'm guessing this is probably crypto, so I'm going to type in USD. And it is. It is. It's called Sovereign. Motherfucker, I've been recording this whole goddamn time. Bastard. I just goofed up all my videos. Oh, well, whatever. Not a big deal. Not the best chart today. In fact, this one would be certainly on the, at minimum, relatively weak side, and probably more so on the relatively shitty side. Absolutely nothing good about this thing at all whatsoever, as long as you're below $26.50. Can you bounce around short term? I mean, this one is around your prior daily lows, so you typically do get a pity bounce around those regions, or even your all-time lows in this case. But any sort of a closure basically below about $16, and I look for this one to get sent down to the depths of hell. Until then, probably more likely to bounce around this region after another short-term grind out of 16.5 cents or so. Yeah, short-term time frame is going to have another drive of hidden bearish divergence right here. So at least one more test of your lows. I'd be looking for a bounce there. If you get a good bounce back above yesterday's high, I'd be looking for bounce continuation of like $20 or so. Still though, terrible, absolutely fucking god awful below $26 long term. No uptrend available, and not the greatest, man. Not the greatest. Khalifa says, morning, sir. Hey, hey, happy Friday to you as well, man. FTM on the 4 and daily. Sure. FTM, USD. Okay. Phantom. Looking at a daily right here. Still a range, but solving itself and playing out our move from, I think we looked at this one 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Good. Back up to the to our medium term range highs at 245. It looks like. Yeah, good. Now that doesn't mean that it's like destined to just fucking bulldoze its way through there, but short term. Short term, I'd actually be looking for potentially a higher low right around about 230. If that happens, you will have hidden bullish divergence right here between this point and this point. Now, that's very far away from getting confirmed. How do you actually confirm that? Well, I'd want to see this one close a 4-hour dildo back above about 248 in this case. Back above there, I would confirm this as a local low. You'd have hidden bullish divergence, and I'd be looking for another run at minimum to about 273 or so. And this one would still look, decent long term. I just think that this one really takes a long term. This one really takes a long time going sideways within the greater range here. That being between about 312 and 190. I'm just not bearish on this thing below 190, or sorry, above 190, and I'm not like excited about this thing below 312 or 310. Until then, short term rangey. That's pretty much it. What about a 5-day? Just out of curiosity, 5-day looks like it is putting in a higher low right here. Actually, this is rather interesting. Hey, I wonder if Coop is listening right now, man, because I believe that you actually bought the dip Ola on this thing, and what do you know? Yeah, you're going to have some big drives of hidden bullish evidence if it actually does complete this. Not bad. Just want to see it close today above like 250, and that actually looked pretty damn good. But still, more likely to take its time going sideways here than not. Monthly, long-term good. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing make new ultimate highs in December, but, do we trade sideways into December? Probably yes. Probably yes. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Mr. Jack, there he is. What's up, Mr. Jack? Ethereum USD, 4-hour and daily. Sure. Yeah, no one ever asked about Ethereum anymore. All right, so what did Ethereum do? Ethereum did pop back above its 20th of November highs, put out the hidden bullish evidence right there. I'd say that's already played out. What do we have going on right here? Well, let me grab a fresh chart, actually. Or no, I think this one was fresh. Okay, cool. Let's see. Yeah, it is fresh. Okay, great. Let's see. Okay, 4-hour. Let's go down here. Do we have any concerning things? We actually don't. I don't see anything too concerning from a momentum oscillator perspective, but this does not look super strong short term. I will say that. What is a 12-hour? Let's see. What do we look like over here? 4-hour turns down below 45.15. 12-hour it turns down below 43.70, which we're just barely above right now. Daily turns down below 42.75. Okay, here's the thing. If you are bullish on Ethereum, you basically would be looking at this as pretty much the pullback, like the low of the pullback on your lower term time frame is like pretty much right here. Maybe just a little bit low, further south at 43.50. Keep on dyslexiaing this thing up. If that were to happen, if you do take out that level to the downside, I am looking for another drive towards 4,200 actually. After that, so you got something like this going on. So and then you got this right here. So that'd be your short term range. Medium term range highs right there, short term range lows right there. And then if that level gets taken out, I'd be looking for a move, just around about 4,200 or so, and a bounce probably implied there. I wouldn't necessarily call full on continuation of new lows or anything like that. I'd be looking for another big bounce around that region if that condition were met, but not a sign of strength to see this one give up so much of that rally like already. However, as long as you're above that pivot, as long as you're above this pivot right here, technically speaking, I should be looking for further continuation, not just to yesterday's high, but actually back around about 46 to 4,700, which is not bad. Yeah, not bad right there. Short term though, it is showing a little bit of downside. So I'm inclined to say that this one, this would be a bull trap right here. Hold on, let's pull up some fibs and see where this one's at right now. Oh my God, yeah. So this is kind of what I was postulating on Bitcoin, right? This would be this high would be right at your 618. So this would be a bull trap, and I fucking goddamn it, man. Yeah, if this thing does start to crack back down below that critical area to the downside, that is going to be a bull trap. Yeah. And I'd be looking for at minimum another run towards 4,200 to 4180-ish region. Probably does try for a short-term bounce there. Maybe there's some hopium after that. Could be some hopium, definitely. But really don't want to see it lose that level. Otherwise, problems. Until then, technically speaking, you should be bullish on it, but that's why they call it a bull trap, obviously. 5 days not bad. 5 days not bad as it is right now. It's not bad as it is right now. It'd look a lot better if it closed above about 44.50 though today. Until then, I'd probably hold off on anything. I really don't think today's the day to be trading right now. I think today's the day to be watching the weekly closure, and then next week is going to be the easy trades. We had easy trades at the beginning of this week, calling the bounce off of 55,500. That was the easy trade this week for Bitcoin and most things. Playing with that one. I don't think it's today, actually. I don't think it's today. What the fuck crypto says, D-Race, USD, full run-up. Opinion, best spot to buy in, please, dearest. Sir, for the love of fucking God. I'm going to lose my mind. D-Race. It's this decentralized race token. Sounds legitimate, man. Best place to buy in? Well, that would have been way back on over here. Look, man, this one's still pretty damn new. Is it still good right here? Short-term corrective, looking for a move down to 660. Look, I don't know what fucking time frame you're on, man. I don't know if you're just looking to scalp. Look, if I was scalping this, yeah, I'd scalp a move from 650 probably back up to like 690 or $7, and I'd be happy with that. You know, if I'm looking to trade the trend in this case, probably looking for extension down like 570 and try for a higher low there. Other than that, I have no idea what you're trying to do, but I do see bearish divergence over here on the daily, and I'm inclined to say this one corrects a little bit further south first. Long term, is it good? Yeah, it is good long term. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one make new all-time highs in maybe even early December, but probably more like middle of December. Fair enough. You know, really shouldn't be looking for like a deep correction until you actually crack back down below 6.25, but fair enough on that one. Yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion on this one. Other than that, what about a weekly? Same shit. Not enough history right there. 12 hour, same shit as well. Probably a little bit of short term corrective action. Long term still generally good. Let's see. Schaffinator von Schaffinator says VRA weekly daily. Sure, man. And happy Friday to you as well. This is Veracity. Let's see where this one's at. Still ranging. Still fucking ranging, huh? Anyways, as long as it holds this range, good. And I do actually look at this one as putting a bit of a higher low right here. So I would be looking for another retest of the range highs, maybe in the next half week to a week. But overall, I don't think that anything too exciting is happening right here. You know, over the next like week, maybe 2 weeks or so. And of course, you know, where do exciting things happen? Well, below 5 cents and above 7.8 cents. And right now you're right in the middle of the range. Yeah, short term is showing some signals of upside curvature here, but I don't think that this one's going to like break out to the upside anytime soon, nor to the downside as well. I think you're ranging at best here. And if I actually go to the lower term time frames, like the 4 hour, we do have some hidden bearish divergence between this point and this point. So it'd actually be suggesting another downside test somewhere right around 5.6 to 5.7 cents first. Again, I'm not calling a breakdown here. I'd just be looking for another retest of the lows and probably bounces there again. Long term, this is good. It's fine. Just going to take its time, you know, going sideways for a while. And that's kind of how I feel about most things that we looked at today. Most of them are going sideways with a little bit of short-term downside corrections. Let's see. Rajnali says ALBT is coming to Helsinki in November 30th with lots of VCs and other projects. Is that a request to look at it or to go to their event? That's cool. Where's my invitation? I don't get invited to any of these things. That's fine. I understand why. Same thing, same fucking thing here. Last time we looked at it, sideways as fuck. Still looking at this one, sideways as fuck. Probably does try for a higher low right here, so I do kind of like this area. But again, I don't think it's going to be doing anything interesting anytime soon. Above 118, lovely. Below 71 cents, terrible. Until then, sideways is good for the boulos in my opinion. Let's see. Who is Thomas says, hey buddy, would take a peek at Flux USD. Renting bounces away. Really? All right. 4 hour coin. Okay. Flux. The Flux network. All right. Sounds legit. And what do we have? Another sideways as fuck chart, baby. Holy shit. Tell him what he's won. Probably another week of going sideways as fuck. Actually, not so bad on a daily, to be fair. This one actually does look pretty damn ready on a daily, for what it's worth. But still want to see an actual closure above 248 in this case. Be looking for another retest of your prior to mine. Very likely new highs above $3. Short term, do we get another correction down to like 155? Maybe yes. Don't have a strong opinion on that. I'm just not going to be bearish on this thing as long as you're closing dailies above about 142.25. Below there, yeah, this one loses its long-term, you know, decent setup here. But similar to the last few charts that we've seen, I think this one's going sideways here for a little bit of time. You know, those are the areas where I'd be getting a lot more excited about. Until then, not too interesting. Anyways, Matthew Stanislaw says Cardano BTC daily weekly. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, man. Is 3,000 sats now resistance? Well, I don't know. Let's see. I haven't looked at the Bitcoin parent on this one in a very long time. Is it now resistance? Well, it ain't support, I'll tell you that. So we had hidden bearish divergence on the last lower high right there. Volatility ticking up, and now we have a breakdown. A technical breakdown in this case. Yeah, probably looking for this one to make some new lows, sir. It's a breakout, but to the downside. Yeah, not good right there, man. Barring like a heroic green dildo before end of week, looking for this one to work its way sideways and down over the next month or two, down to like 2,400 satoshis or 2,500 satoshis. Monthly should bounce relatively soon, though. Yeah, probably bounce around 25 or maybe even 2,600 satoshis. But yeah, we had some bearish evidence come off the highs right there. Extreme conditions on monthly BBWP. Probably some sideways and down with a bounce in between. Where I'd actually be looking at this one is good again, above 3,600 satoshis. It's pretty far away, but that's what would be that's what would be required in this case. Until then, anything is just another lower high. And we are going to see some regular bullish evidence on this one soon. So it probably does bounce very, very soon here. Maybe it does get the heroic green dildo before Sunday, but again, the higher time frame that I go off of, the more and more that I look at this one is, probably going to bounce short term. Long term still has some downside to go, I believe. Now, very long term. Oh my God. Let's actually look at a quarterly on this one. I'm curious what this looks like here. Yeah, I think this one has more long term downside to go, but short term, probably setting up for a bounce relatively soon. Just want to see a local low confirmed, and then you'll have some pretty big drives of bullish evidence in there. Anyways, got to get back above there to get bullish again. You said on 3,000 satoshis. No, 3,000 would not do it for me. 3,000 would not do it for me, actually. Minimum, I'd say, is that last rejective high right here at 32.65. But Cardano has so many fucking fake outs and just so many failed attempts that I'm a lot more inclined to be on the conservative side here and say your prior like daily range highs in this case, and that'd be right here at about 36.30 essentially. Until it's back above there, it's it's just downtrend, man. It's just doing the dance of death, it looks like. Cardano got delisted from eToro, but listed on Bitstamp, which has more volume. Yeah. But I mean, usually getting listed on exchange is like a sell the event type thing, and getting delisted from an exchange is a definitely sell the event type thing. So I don't know if I look at either of those two things as good. I mean, getting listed on another exchange just means that you have another venue to trade this asset on, and by trade it means sell. For most people trading this thing. At some point it's going to get a pretty damn big bounce. I wouldn't be surprised to see it bounce to like 3,500 satoshis, but I would not be calling a reversal there. I'd probably be looking for another lower high there, to be fair. Long term, I really don't like that chart. It's been pretty bad for too long of a time, man. But the US dollar pairing is probably going to be looking for a bounce sooner rather than later. I think the 150 target has almost been met. In fact, let's go check it out right now. Because if that happens, you're probably gonna be looking for that bounce sooner rather than later. And did we get that right here? Very, very close. Very, very close. Let's see where we on the weekly. I could still go a little bit more. I still want to see like 150 and probably big bounce around there. So maybe one more move to the downside, then big bouncy. Let's see. Mr. Googly Lee says, "Hello, sir. Super BTC entry now using the low yesterday as stop loss sounds like a good plan. I don't know what no idea what you're trying to do as a trader, but I can maybe look at it really quickly. Let's see. So you're on a daily and using yesterday's daily low. No, that doesn't really do it for me because this is not a confirmed higher low just yet. I do think that this one could still come down to like 2750 and put in a higher low right there. And you do have bearish evidence come off that last high. Kind of already played out the correction from there. Let's see, what does a 5-day look like right here? Looks good. I mean, I think that you're probably gonna be right on the direction. It's just you might get taken out of that trade and still be right on direction, which is exceedingly frustrating. The place where it makes sense to me to put in a stop loss if I was trading the daily trend right here would be the last daily low, which is like 2300. Which is a lot of risk on a 3,000 or 3,100 Satoshi name, but you could do it your way, and maybe it just works. But at the same time, taking out yesterday's daily low doesn't really mean much to me. It can still come a little bit lower and still be a higher low right there. So if you are trading the trend, which I don't know what you're trying to do because I have no idea what the fuck you're trying to do, that would make more sense. But in the way that you're postulating right there, that would be more of like a scalp. In which case. Well, if you're scalping, I mean, then fuck yeah, go for it. But probably looking for a move towards like 3260 to 3300 or so, if that were to happen. It's time. All right, yeah. So we are going to. So all super chats after this moment are unfortunately not going to be read, but everyone who's done it before this moment will be read. I'm just waiting for Elsa to post the thingy. Are you going to do it? Come on, do it. No, yeah, we humbly request that you do not do any more super chats. Oh, nope, she's rescinded her message now, so we wait a little bit longer. Everyone's waiting on you, Elsa. Everyone's waiting on you. The pressure is on, okay? She really hates it when you put pressure on her. Really fucking hates it. Really fucking hates it. What's up, Philson? I see you there. I see you, brother. There he is, man. There he fucking is. Hey, can you do it or what? All right, well, I'm just waiting for it to update then. All right, there we go. Nice one. Nice one. Okay, beautiful. All right, but, you know, for what it's worth, Super BTC on a 5-day looked great. Really, really good to me. Really, really good to me, but that can take some time to carry onwards and forwards. Long term, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing at 5,000 Satoshis. You know, maybe in like late December, early January. Rick says, can you please look at Hathor? I think we did that one, or was it the other? No, I think we did this one. Yeah, we did do this one. Short-term pullback. Probably looking for bounces relatively soon at about $1.50 or so, $1.45 to $1.50. Getting close, getting very, very close. Although if Bitcoin shits the bed, actually, sorry, I might take back that statement. Well, $1.45, probably somewhere right around there. P2E says, hello, Krown. Hello, P2E. IMX short and medium term. Sure, man. Let's see. IMX USD. This is a mutable X token thingy. I think this one popped up a few days ago and pretty good right here, actually. Pretty damn good, dare I say. Short term, a little bit more corrective, down to 850 or so is completely fine. Shit, this thing could even come down to like 8.25 and still be long term okay. Just depends what time frame you're on. So you're on very short and medium term. So to me, that means on an asset that's been around this long, like an hourly and a 4-hour. Short term, again, corrective, somewhere back down around about 855 to 860 or so, looking for a bounce around there. 4-hour. Basically same analysis right here. I think this thing could easily come down to like 8.25 and still be okay. And I do think that you've certainly found a short-term top here. You know, you got multiple drives of bearish evidence on this one. Yeah, volatility isn't at extremes, but it is relatively new. So I'm inclined to say short-term corrective, long-term probably still okay for whatever there is a long-term on this one. You know, not really much of a long-term there, but yeah, here's a 5-day chart. It's like, what do you make out of that? Not much. What do you make out of a day? I mean, it's good. It's good on a day. It's obviously going up is better than going down, but if you're specifically asked about short-term time frames, a little bit short-term corrective there. Brandon Harden says, Phil, daily, weekly. Sure. I've never actually seen someone write daily that way. That's an interesting acronym, but fair enough. Let's see. Phil, I remember we looked at this one maybe yesterday, and yeah, not the most inspiring chart of all time. Ranging at best, similar to all the other charts that we've seen today. I think this was a prospective daily move right there. What even was this for? Well, whatever it was, wrecked. So that's not relevant. You know, very similar to all the other charts. I think this one is at best going sideways with a base at 46.25 and a short-term high at about 69.5. Above 69.5, things start to look a lot better for at least a continuation towards 90 to 91 $2. But I'd still hold off on getting like super excited about this thing as long as you're below about $1.13, $1.14. That's where like the actual moves start to get going on a daily, and I'm guessing you're looking at a weekly here too. Yeah, above there on a weekly, I'd probably be looking for a retest of your prior all-time highs. But until then, you know, short-term corrective. Yeah, short-term just sideways here. And hey, there Bitcoin comes down. Yeah. It's happening, sirs and zers. It's happening. Yesterday was an embarrassing day, but fair enough. Smiles for Miles. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, man. Thank you for that. Nice one. Thank you. Michael Stevens says, good morning, fella. Good morning to you, sir. Could you, I hope you have a good one. Hey, I hope you have a good one as well, man. Can we look at axes? Yes, symbol AXS versus the Derper. And what do we got right here? Yeah, still same thing as yesterday, man. Again, very similar to a lot of the charts we've seen. Short-term sideways. We sold off on the top side test of the $150 range. Short term, very likely coming back down towards 130 or somewhere around about $1.30 or so, or somewhere between about $1.30 to $1.25. I would be looking for bounces there. I only call this one bearish below 119.5, and it probably takes some time anyways. Long term, I like it as long as it's kind of running with this uptrend right here, but I should probably take it away for right now because, well, that's more experimental than anything else. Anyways, Mr. BK says CVX versus wrapped Ethereum. Yes, CVX WETH. Okay, convex token. All right. Yeah, we looked at this one yesterday. Again, sideways at best right here, but sideways is good for the Bulaws. Does it test to the downside at like 0.054? So first, maybe yes. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. 4-hour time frame says short-term downside to 0.058 or so. Probably tries for a bit of a bounce there, but again, long term, good as long as you're above this bottom side region right here. You really can't get too excited about it as long as you're below this top side region right here. But I mean, this is not bad. I mean, consolidated all-time high is certainly not a bad thing. Just probably going to take its time going sideways, man. That's all. I'd be very concerned, though, if it does lose this level right there. However, that would imply big red dildos there. Big red dildos. Infinite IQ says, NASDAQ. Okay, could we actually use it? Look at NASDAQ futures, symbol NQ. That might be a little bit more relevant, especially whilst NASDAQ NDX is not trading during the after hours. So we're just going to look at futures. But okay, so today is yet again a very fucking big day for traditional markets. What do we have going on here on the weekly? We have potential bearish engulfing dildo in play. Now, this will be confirmed with any sort of a closure today below 16,100, essentially, which so far we've actually rallied off of on the current low of this week. So what do we make out of that? Well, if you're bullish, you're essentially looking for that to hold, and then you're looking for a breakout back of about 16,550. At that point, just the all-time high party continues onwards and forwards and never ends. It's the market that never fucking goes down, huh? Monthly, you know, this does look a lot more like a top right here, to be fair. I mean, that would be a shooting star dildo. It's not down on volume, however, and we are not seeing extremes on volatility, but you typically don't see that in traditional market highs. What you will see very likely is bearish divergence on a monthly, which we would have a little bit of. So it would imply that December will be corrective if that were to happen. So today's kind of a big day. You know, if you do close below that region, I would be looking for that move to start to occur coming into next week in early December. Until then, you know, sideways above that region is still good, kind of similar to a lot of the cryptos that we've seen today. But I don't know, am I getting more distributive signals here or not? I'm not really getting anything on the short-term timeframes, in fact. So I don't really, I don't really have anything else to add on to it other than that. I'd just be waiting for the weekly closure on that one. That one's going to be a lot more obvious once we get that. And actually, that's exactly what you're asking for. So I'll leave it right there. Bob Hartley says ALK. Okay. Oh, this is a stock. Got it. All right. This is Alkane Resources. Got it. And thank you for specifying the exchange as well. End of the road or small rally first. Daily looks pretty wrecked, and that is distribution right there. Weekly is pretty wrecked. You know, you might get a bit of a bounce to like 85 cents or so, but I think that this one's done for a while, and very likely is working its way down to 73, 74 cents or so over time. Not great right there. Not great. What about a monthly? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, not a big fan of the monthly. I'm looking for this one to come down to like 70 to 75 cents, probably in December. Let's see. All right, Jesus Vargas, we'll look at your Rune USD, sir. All right, man. All right, let's see. This is another one of them Thor chains, huh? What do we have right here? Not bad on the monthly, actually. Very good on the monthly. 5-day. What do we look like right here? Pretty damn good as well. Looks like we might even have another higher low. In fact, 2. Do we have any? Hey, stop that. Damn it. The one thing I don't like about Caretaker's RSI is it's so convoluted with all the thingies here that it's hard to click into pain. But yeah, no hidden bullish divergence there. 2-day will have it, however. I'm looking for this one as a higher low right here. And I'm bullish on this thing as long as you're above $10. Looking for this one to work its way sideways and up towards 16. Daily. Same thing. Short term, you know, a little bit of sideways and down if that matters to you. Yeah, you are in a 4 hour actually. Short term, yeah, I probably actually do look for this one to retest around maybe $10.50 or so, but I'm bullish on this thing, especially as long as you're above 10 and a quarter, let's say on a closing basis. Pretty good. ARC says, how are you? I'm all right, man. I'm all right. How do you confirm local lows and local highs? Okay, you want to see like an obvious stop and reverse point off of a trend, and you want to see them like, you know, a good distance away from each other. So it should be obvious. And here's a very easy way to do it. Put it on a line chart. Take everything off, just get fucking naked on it. And what I want you to just mark off is where are the big inflection points? Well, you have one right here. You have one right here. You have one right here. All of these ones are way too close with each other, but where's your next major high? Right here. Where's your next major low? Right here. I mean, you kind of have a low and a lower high right there, but fair enough. Then after that, just straight up, here's your next local high, local low, higher high, lower low. Doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. You really want to see a little bit of space around it. Otherwise, you'll define each and every one of these as like higher highs and higher lows, or lower lows and lower highs, and it's not going to be too helpful, to be honest. Anyways, yeah, I mean, just kind of get an eye for it over time as well, and it should technically speaking, should usually come alongside, confluence with moving averages, like the major ones a lot of the time, or big fibs, shit like that. You don't necessarily need to do that, obviously, but for me, it does kind of help it out. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that, sir. Let's see. Astrological Ether Tarot says, autocorrect misspelled your name. Hey, man, it's all good. UFO USD. Okay. UFO USD. Looks like we can't pull up the dollar pairing there. I think there is there's an Ethereum pairing here. I do remember that. And holy shit, man, this one went fucking berserk. Let's see. I think we had targets up to like a 130 to 150 region, and we got up to 130. Pretty fucking close right there. Is one likely to continue from here? Maybe a little bit short-term corrective, I imagine. We're probably working on bearish evidence, but my damn RSI won't populate on this one. Daily, same thing. Yeah, it's this one. This one does not make sense from an indicator perspective. Look, long-term, this is good. 5-day closing today. This is obviously good and very likely to get more continuation probably in middle or end of December. Short-term, is it more corrective? If I had to call it, probably yes. This thing can come all the way back down to like 90 to 95 and still be good. I only get bearish on this thing below about 90 on a daily. Until then, I'm just looking for this one to go sideways and up. Generally pretty good right there. And again, it's being charted versus Ethereum, so this one's rather strong actually. Let's see. Uh-oh, did the stream die again?
No.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, nice. Okay, thank God. All right, there we go. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Robert? Appreciate that, but feel free to have a message as well. Uvian Official says, Cummies on the daily. I don't know if that's actually... I know what you're talking about, in fact, but it is on TradeView. Holy shit. Of course, it's on Pancake Swap versus BMB bullshit token. Bad. Unfortunately, Cummies have been wrecked. How could they do this to my Cummies? They've wrecked my Cummies! Oh, no! Man, I was told that this shit was going to make me rich, and all it's done is made me the inverse of rich. It's made me poor on Cummies. How could this be? BMB? CZ? Please help! Short-term bouncy, man. Probably bounce back up to like 511 BMBs. Bounces up to 511 CZs. CZ fucking shitcoin tokens. Other than that, it's a terrible chart, man. So, I mean, this thing looks like someone pulled the rug and they didn't stop pulling. They didn't stop pulling out. Just nasty, man. Real fucking ugly. Look, you're probably gonna have some bounce along the way, but I don't think you're gonna be doing anything like this anytime soon, if maybe ever. Could be years. Jamie Aguirre says, "Mind looking at MTRG?" Sure, if I can pull it up. All right, this is a new one. Meter token. All right. We need distance on the blockchain. Let's see, what time frames are you looking at? No time frames given. Damn it, Jamie. But short term a bit of a range here. I don't really get like bearish on this one below until you're below about $10 on a 4-hour closure, and then yeah, I'd be looking for a move down to just below $9 or so. Until then, there's more good things and bad things here. I just wouldn't get excited about it as long as you're below $12. Above $12, look for a retest of your prior highs at 14 and a half or so. Come back to it after that. IAAT says, Nano Daily and Weekly, there's a beautiful triangle forming. Oh, nanos. Nanos, you say? I've heard of these nanos. These nanos are the best and most applicable currency to be paying your mom for your goddamn chicken tendy Pringles fingers. The fuck is it? This is how I get my fleshlight cleaned. By buying my damn nanos. Okay, here's the hopium on something like this. The hopium is that you're putting in a higher low right here and that it's going to bounce, maybe not this week, but probably next week. And, well, back above $8, this one would look pretty fucking good. It would look pretty fucking good and be implying another, test around, I guess in this case, around 15, 16 bucks. The non-hopium, the doomium, the fleshlights are not cleanium any longer, is with a daily closure below about 480, and I'll be looking for this one to retest your prior major loans at about 360, and probably another bounce there, and then die a little bit later. To be fair, it probably does pull through. This one also going sideways here, but short term, looking for some downside, another test down to like 490 to 495 or so, and very likely a bounce there. Higher term time frames are more on the bullish side long term, but yeah, I guess a little more on the bullish side long term, but I don't know, man. I'm always very skeptical of this thing. But back above 810, I'd actually get quite excited about this thing. Until then, fleshlights are wrecked for a while. Is it forming a beautiful triangle? Kind of. That is a bit more hopium right there, though, man. Needs to bounce in this next week to week and a half. Clint in says, sold off my Bcash today after your input. Well, look, man, I'm just giving my opinion on it. Like, if you've done your research into it and you truly believe what I forget exactly what you're saying, but if you truly have your convictions on it, go with what you know. I used to despise Bcash after the fork, but now since the price is so low, I thought there would be an opportunity. Okay, so your sort of thesis with it is price equals low, so I buy now. Price can always go lower, unfortunately, in my experience. But yeah, man, it's probably going to get its bounce at some point. But as you can see, it's just been relatively weak the whole way through. So it's probably not going to gain as much as the stronger things within this market. The chart is a mess, and the community, is there still like a Bcash community who believes that Bcash is the real Bitcoin? Like, is there, does anyone know? I'm not really in tune with that any longer. I mean, this is just atrocious right here. Yeah, this is just fucking atrocious. Look, at some point it's probably going to rally back up to $1,000, but by that point, like, you've probably seen most of this market already make their moves, and this one's probably gonna be like one of the last. There used to be like a big portion of the community that thought that Bcash was the real Bitcoin back in 2017. Then that community slowly, I think, faded away on those beliefs, unfortunately. Yeah, man. Anyways, Miko's Adventures A says AMP seems to be ready not to shit the bed. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. AMP USD. Let's see on Poloniex. Oh, no. We want to go to Gemini, I think it is, for this one. Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. It's not ready to shit the bed. Again, more or less sideways here, but short term looking for some upside, actually. Probably back up to 6.8, maybe even 6.8 to maybe in 7 cents or so. Still, long term, don't really get too excited about it as long as below 7.8 cents. But hey, your higher low right here, I like it. As long as you're above 5 cents, I look at this as good. Short-term timeframes look like they're putting another higher low right here. Yeah, it's again, it's another sideways chart, but sideways is good for the BULAs. I just don't suspect that you're looking for resolution like this week, for example. Luca Hain, appreciate that, man. But again, feel free to have a message as well. Oh, there is. Okay, I see. How do you tag? Can you do OHM? Okay, OHM. Is this the one that has like a million damn forks? Oh yeah, we need to do it versus DAI. Not good. Not good. Looking for this one to trade back down towards your 730 lows or so. Slew of lower highs right there. Hidden bearish evidence on the last daily high. I'm looking for this one to come back down around your last lows from 19th to 20th of November area. Hey, what's up, Buried Alive? Good morning to you, man. UFO, yep, we got that one earlier, and big hugs to Mr. Lucky. He would like that. UFO, I think we did it just like 10 minutes ago, so it's probably going to be in the, it's actually probably not going to be in the stamps, but long-term good, short-term I think it was maybe a little bit pullback if I recall properly. Evan Black says, hey, Krown, could you please take a look at INJ? Okay, this is injective. Pretty good here, actually pretty good. Hey, not bad. I should record this one. This is rather interesting. Here we have injective symbol INJ versus the dollar. And what do we have? We have a little bit of a daily breakout in progress right here as of yesterday. Now, it wasn't done on volume, so there's a little bit of a counterpoint to what I'm saying right here. But as long as you are closing daily deltas, especially above about 13 bucks, I do look for this one to trade sideways and up out of this range after maybe a bit of a short-term correction. Not really seeing any concerning signatures right there. 4-hour time frame. Yeah, a little bit of a pullback here is fine, down to 13 and a quarter. But again, as long as the invalidation is not hit, generally long term, it's okay. It looks like it's been a bit of a laggard, not really moving with the rest of the market, but as long as you do hold this long-term area, it does still kind of have that good posturing. Now, I wouldn't get too excited about this one on the macro as long as you're below about 1580 above there. That's where I do look for this one to retest around your May highs. It's definitely a laggard here in comparison to most things within this market that kind of already have tested around their May highs, but can this one get going as well? I suspect so. 5-day, what are you looking like right here? Yeah, still okay, man. Still okay. Weekly, same thing. I'm looking for this one to trade sideways and upside out of this range. Volatility on the lows right here on the 2-day, and we also got 2-day hidden bullish evidence. I'm probably looking for this one to make its run in the next couple of weeks. Again, be aware of the invalidations. Obviously, that can always happen, but in this case, more likely to pull through. And I think this one's getting very, very ready right here. Maybe we just briefly go over here to see if daily momentum also does agree, and they do. As long as we're above $12, daily Stokes are up. 5-day Freshie up above 10.14, and 4 hours flippy floppy right now below 14.17. So very short-term corrective, but long-term, okay right there. Just a laggard. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for injective. Cool. Let's see. Sol070 says, good morning, sir. Good morning to you as well. Can you check out Sol USD? Yeah, no one asks about Solana anymore. No one loves Solana anymore. Let's see. We got 200 bucks over here. Oh, nasty. Yeah. And I believe we did say another move back down to 195 lows, and we've pretty much gotten that, or wherever the 55 is, and it's kind of where we're at right now. So very, very similar to a lot of the other charts that we've seen. I'd even lower this bottom range to about 190 in this case, just to give it some breathing space. But overall, as long as you're going sideways within this range, yes, it is technically a more long-term bullish setup, but at best you're going sideways right now, and below the range lows at 190, that's where big problems start to happen, and I would be looking for, big retracements down to 170, maybe 165 after that. The weekly does look like a reversal right here, if I'm being 100% directly clear. Many drives of bearish evidence off the weekly highs. We hit extremes on the daily, I'm sure. Yeah, well, a while ago. Actually, no, we did not. Interesting. So, the hopium is that it still holds this range for a while. The doomium is that you break that, and then yes, big red dildos. And the weekly is a reversal. The monthly is also a reversal as well. I think this one's done for a while. It was a first mover. It was definitely a first mover, but as long as you're living below about 231, definitely nothing to be excited about here. And even below like 250 is, it's long term. It's done for a while. I do think probably still very, very, very long term good, but corrective at best right here and sideways. Dallas Myers says polka dot general TA daily and weekly. Okay, DOT, got it. Let's see where we at. Let's go to this one. Day down, it looks like, but do we give another chance to bounce off this region, or do we look for a bounce at 30? What is this? $35? I think this one tries for a bounce at $35 or so. Had a pretty damn good run right there, no doubt about that. I have some bearish evidence come off the highs. Yeah, I'm looking for this one to correct down to $35 in the next week or two. Especially if Bitcoin dumps out here. Technically speaking, I shouldn't be looking for this move until you actually officially break the range lows, which we're pretty much at right now. But need to see that on a daily or 12-hour closure. I think it's more of a formality in this case. This one's very likely going to break down to that region, then try bounce at 35, in my opinion. Long-term, monthly. Long-term, I'm going to like this on a monthly. It's just, this probably takes a long time. Probably takes a very long time right there. Let's see. Rob says Ethereum long-term. We kind of already did that one. Maybe if you're really looking at very long-term here. Yeah, that one's giving it up right now. Look, if this thing does close below 4,300 or 4,400 actually by end of basically here or lower, anywhere below 4,350 especially, say this one's going to see a corrective December at best. Still though, long-term timeframes still fine here to be fair, but short-term I'll be coming back down somewhere right around 4,130, perhaps yes. This kind of does this. I mean, as we identified earlier, this is kind of a bull trap, to be honest with you. I mean, that was at the 618. You really want to see immediate continuation pretty much the next day. Otherwise, bull trap initiated and looking for a move back down to your prior range lows, which is in this case about 4,100. Let's see. Andrew Mo says, hey, Krown, playing Avatar today. All good, man. Still nice. VRA 4-hour daily. I think we got that one earlier. Let me just double check, right? I'm pretty sure we got this one earlier. Yeah, we did get this one earlier. Short term, I believe it was sideways and down, but long term still okay. Yeah, short term can come back down to like 6 cents or so, completely fine. Daily, I'm bullish on this thing as long as you're above 5.5 cents. Looking for it to trade sideways and up out of this range, back up towards about 7.8 to 8 cents or so over time. And of course, weekly, not really giving me too much. 5-day, same thing. Let's see. Crypto Angel says CRO. Yeah, no one's asked about CRO today. All right. Let's see, CRO USD, and this is on Bittrex. That might look like a top to me, and I believe that we did call a top on this one a few days ago, and I'm still sticking with that. Yeah, I'm still sticking with that here. Yeah, I'm looking for a bounce short term off of like 69 cents, but anything below 80, basically anything below 88 cents, and I'm just looking for this one to range for a little bit, then probably breaks down a little bit more over time. Long term, I do think that this one works its way towards 55 to 60 cents and tries for a major low there, but very long term, it's still good. It's just this thing can retrace quite a fair bit and still be good. That's the problem with going vertical like this, right? Hey, what's up, Benoit? Welcome to the cave as well, sir. Prickly Mouse says Realm versus Ethereum. Okay, man, this is a ridiculously long stream. This is insane. Okay, Realm. Oh dear Lord, that is out of no man's land right now. I'm guessing that this one's putting in bearish divergence already. Realm. Okay, let's just see it. Let's see where it's at. Long term, it has a great chart. Obviously, going up is better than going down, but extreme conditions over here, bearish divergence right here. I'm looking for this one to correct maybe a bit sideways and down towards 339 butyrols or so. 4-hour time frame is actually good still. You know what? I should be looking for one more short-term move to the upside first. And you know what? If that short-term upside move reclaims back above your 25th of November high, basically yesterday's highs, I should be looking for continuation first before a general pullback. Yeah, maybe I'm going to be wrong about this one. Maybe the daily is not going to be getting this one right. Maybe it has one more run. Let's see. Where are we at on this one? It's really fucking close to a high no matter which way I kind of cut it, but maybe it has one more run at its current highs, maybe even puts in a slightly new high. Then you get your third drive of bearish evidence on a 4 hour, because right now you do have some hidden bullish evidence on the other side. And then I look for it to come down, but this one's very, very close to putting in a major high. I think it maybe has one more run, maybe one more run, pretty much around your current highs. Let's see. Yeah, if you're on a very short-term time frames, I do think that it will bounce here, somewhere around like 4, 6, 7 beta rolls or so. Bob Samarsdick says GTC. This is Gitcoin. Gitcoin. GTC. All right. Remember this one? Someone requested it a while ago, and well, let's see where it's at. 30-minute looks good. You're looking at daily and weekly. Daily is very, very good. Very, very good right here. Now, I would be looking for a pullback based upon the retest of your August highs. Pullback can come all the way down to, you know, $11.5 to $12 or so. But long term, this is actually quite a good setup. I just want to see a daily closure above that 14.25 region, and then I'd be looking for this one to go into blue sky breakout territory. Yeah, you're on a daily and weekly, so you are looking at the higher term time frames. I'd just be waiting for that closure, and that would look really, really good for Neil Optimize. One of the better looking actual setups right there, in fact, long term that is. Aref says 4 hour on Atari, ATR on it. The stock, I'm guessing the stock. This thingy? No, you're looking at Atari. That's Atreon. Atari, let's see. Oh, this thing trades OTC now, isn't that right? Oh yeah. Okay, Jesus. 4 hour on this thing? It's pretty shitty long term. Short term, if I had to call it, it comes back down to 30 cents. But yeah, short term, I'd be bearish on it, I guess. Yeah, not great here. Weekly's probably putting in a major low, but 4 hour comes down a little bit towards our current lows, about 30 to 31 cents or so, and then tries for a bounce there. If I'm even looking at the right thing, because that's not the same ticker, but it is the same company, it looks like. Tank Silver says what? He says Telcoin daily and 4 hour. Got it. All right, symbol TEL USD. Okay, how close are we? Oh my God, we're not even close to the bottom. This is insane. This is an insane stream. Telcoin, again, we have another chart that's at best going sideways here. Let's rechart it for the daily as you requested. All right, range highs, range lows in this case. I do think you're getting ready for another test around your range lows, whether that be like 1.5 cents or so. Do I think that you're going to break it just yet? Probably not. No. 5 days still, long term, maybe okay, but I'm looking for a bounce relatively soon here, about a cent and a half. I don't get bearish on this thing until you break below 1.3. Storage, we already did that one, Kamal. ENJ, we already did that one as well. Those will be in the show notes later. Winning Choice 87 says, hello, is there a real quick IOI USD? Did we already do this one? IOI USD. No, I don't think so. But we did look at it yesterday. That's why it's recalling a bell. Short term, maybe another short term downside move to 410 or so. But this breakout's real. On volume, good. Volatility is hot right now, so short term it is a bit more corrective. But I do expect that after setting a bit of a higher low anywhere above $3.50, I'm looking for a continuation to the upside. Still with the long term targets in mind. Over the next couple of weeks towards 6.5, maybe even $7 if things get really crazy there. 4 hour. Yeah, again, short term corrective probably comes down to like $4 or so. Tries for a higher low. Odds of it putting it, you're asking, is it going to put in a low at current price? Probably not. No, I do think that it trades a little bit lower. You still kind of love this chart. I mean, long term is good. If you're on very short term timeframes though, then you kind of miss the move, I guess. But fair enough. Mayor is looking at CRV BTC. All right, versus the Bitcoin. Damn it, we already looked at it versus USD, but I guess we can do this as well. Daily, good as long as you're above 8,900 Satoshis. The breakout is real. 4 hour, again, short-term corrective, similar to the US dollar chart, but looking for bounces anywhere around, upper 8,000s, low 9,000s in this case. Long-term, I like the breakout as long as you're closing, especially dailies above this region. Or sorry, dailies could even close above like 8,500. So might see a little bit of a retracement here, but I do believe that the breakout is real. All momentum outside is bullish and volatility expanding. Very, very good. Long term, probably looking for this one to work its way up. I mean, like, maybe over the next month or two to like, Jesus Christ, like 14,000, 15,000. Not bad. Mohammed Sabahi says, hello, sir. Can you look at Lena daily and weekly? Okay, Lena. All right. It's a new one for me. What the hell? We got a line chart here. We got a line chart on the loose. Not very confident on a chart like this, man. Yeah, you do have some rising bottoms here. Just don't want to see this one go below about 475. Below 475, I look for this one to correct deeply towards 4 cents or so. Until then, I guess you can make some excuses for it. I mean, it's kind of testing around your daily range highs in this case, but not super obvious. I wouldn't get excited about this thing as long as you're below about 7.3 cents. So, sorry, 7.3 cents in this case. Until then, short term, looking for a little bit of sideways and down. Yeah, short term time frames are bearish here. But you're on a daily and weekly. Yeah, weekly, there's not much of a weekly to be looking at. If anything, the weekly is a rejection, and I'm looking for the weekly to come down to like low 3 cent, but I don't feel too confident on a chart like that, to be honest with you, man. I'd kind of follow whatever Bitcoin does, but if I'm just looking at that chart, looks like a major high. Let's see. You have become a part of my nightly ritual. Hey, man, all good, Mr. Come On. Apologies that I didn't directly get everything that you're looking for there. Oh, you got ENJ storage. Okay, I actually recorded, I think, both of those, and they will be earlier in the show. And then Oh, I forgot Mana. Did we do Mana? No, I don't think so. Mana USD Decentraland. Let's see where we are on the daily. All right, so we did do Mana earlier. We hit our $6 target. We're getting our pullback from there. That's fine. Short term, does it pull back a little bit more? Perhaps yes, down to 440 or so. I'll just be looking for higher lows right there. I'll get bearish on this thing below about $4 on a 4 hour. Daily below about 430 would be concerning as well. But until then, short term corrective, long term good. But long term probably means like late December. Okay, Mr. Martin Hunt, there he is. AVAX, we already did AVAX, man. How far do you think it can pull back? Quite a fair bit, because I do think that it's topped out for a while. Could you look at our friend Superfarm? Yep, we already looked at that one. Well, kind of. We looked at versus Bitcoin. It was long-term good, short-term, I think, corrective. Versus dollar, still good long-term. Could easily come down to 140 or so, and I'd still like it. Below 135, I get bearish on it. Until then, everything here is constructive. I just don't think it's ready just yet. Good. Okay, nice. Thank you. Elrond. Yeah, we can do Elrond. We haven't done that one. EGLD. Okay. Hit whatever target we had over here. 525. Jesus, man. Probably looking for this one to trade a little bit further south after a bit of a short-term bounce. Well, maybe not in the 4 hour, actually. 4 hour says lower first before bouncing. If it does want to trade lower first, I'll be looking for 375 to 370 or so and bounce there. But yeah, we hit whatever target we had over here from the last time we looked at it. Plus daily BBWP is at extremes. Yeah, I'm looking for this one to correct a little bit. Long term, probably good. Thank you, sir. Got some more water for me. Green Machine says, when you've been through a 60% pullback in a few days, this is nothing. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, should be trading these like at least that's just my humble opinion, but everyone has, of course, everyone has their own ideas. Gohan's mom wants to look at sand. I don't think we've done that one just yet. And best of the best to you as well. And happy Thanksgiving. Sand. Okay, 4 or 8. 4 hours probably gonna be more relevant for this one. Because short term, I do think, it is toppy here. Maybe a very, very short-term time frame bounce right here. However, I do expect that this one does work its way a little bit further south. I still like this one long-term, but can it retrace down to like $5.80 or $6? Yeah, absolutely. And I'd just be looking for bounces there. That's the problem with going vertical like this. And yeah, I do think that you found I do think that you found like a major high right there. Yeah, very, very likely. Major extremes right there. Bearish divergence on the daily. Yeah. Okay. Austin McMahon wants to look at Wild USD. Okay. All kinds of different tokens today, all kinds of shitcoins. Same thing over here, multiple drives of bearish divergence, extremes on daily BBWP. It's probably gonna have a short-term bounce very, very soon here at about 569, but I think it's just gonna end up being that. Probably works its way a little bit lower, maybe down to like $5 or so. Then again, it actually will have, if it does put in a local low right there, some hidden bullish divergence. So I'd give it a chance to bounce here first. If bounce fails, I'm looking down more so around $5 or so. Still would be okay long-term, but weekly is a bit more toppy. 5 day, yeah, more toppy. Maybe I do call a top here long term. I'd like to see this one close below about $5 before I call a top long term, and then look for it to come down significantly towards 3.5 to 369. But for right now, give it a chance to bounce, and then we'll come back to it after that. Let's see. Got Zach, but no message. What's up, Zach? Mantis says happy Thanksgiving. AVAX versus, we could do it versus let's do it versus Ethereum, actually. That would be interesting to do. AVAX versus Ethereum right here, down. It's not good, not good, but it hasn't really been charted for too long. I imagine long term probably would have been pretty damn good. Probably looking for a pity bounce off of your prior major lows at about 2,500, but yeah, this looks like a major top to me, but I would be looking for a bounce off there and then probably trades sideways for a while and then breaks down for like the real move. Let's see. Panyok says, howdy Krown and Elsa. I love your laugh. Thanks. You're talking about me, right? Hey man. Yeah, it's all good. I understand it's the internet and Elsa has some thick skin, although sometimes it can get to her, but you know what, man, you know, if someone's like truly, mad about someone like who's laughing on the internet, I don't know. You just gotta hope for the best for that person. Cause,
Probably hasn't gone late ever.
Elsa says he probably hasn't gone late ever, but